the journals of international and national repute. Professor Tiwari has co-authored more than 600 publications and has more than 1,000 citations to his credit. Sir is an expert of planetology, biostratigraphy, seismology, landslides, with a teaching experience of more than 40 years. Sir, it is really a great honor and privilege for us that you have spared your valuable time to be a resource person for this particular refresher course. And sir, we are very grateful, sir, for your presence here. Now, over to you, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Anjali, Dr. Dayal, Dr. Anskita, and all distinguished faculty of this college and dear participants. It's really great honor to be associated with Ramanujam College and all its academic activities. In fact, if I remember correctly, this is my third appearance in a program organized by this college and on variety of topics. At the start, let me say that this college is active in issues concerning higher education system and uh, bringing experts from diverse areas of higher education and disseminating the knowledge base and the current and relevant reforms that higher education system of the country needs to really transform it and bring it at the international level and also to empower the youth of the nation with the global competencies and skills so that they can serve the entire humanity in the best possible manner. We all know that NEP 2020 was announced by Government of India last year, and since then several seminars, symposia, workshops, and discussion have been arranged by various organizations, and even the Honorable President of India, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Honorable Education Minister of India have appeared and they have expressed their concern, their zeal and enthusiasm, determination and commitment to implement all reforms that are stipulated in NEP 2020. When we talk about NEP 2020, and what immediately comes to our mind and what has been highlighted time and again are the two words that NEP 2020 is learner-centric, number one, and the other one is that it is nation-centric. And the reforms that are envisioned in this are really Bharat-centric, Bharat-kendric, meaning that all latest that is happening, all reforms, all new things that have emerged world over and that have been tested and found really useful for the learners. On the one side, this thing, and on the other side, the core values, core strength of our nation, and our life values and life skills, combination of these two really makes NEP 2020 very unique.
सर,
And
इफ आई मे इंटरप्ट सर,
yeah,
थोड़ा सा सर स्क्रीन ऊपर को एडजस्ट होगा सर, आपका फेस ना आ नहीं रहा व्यू सर. इट इज बेटर नाउ सर. यस सर.
okay.
सर नाउ
So,
थैंक यू सर.
so when we talk about NEP 2020 being learner-centric or student-centric, uh, what it implies is that this suits the learners, the learning needs of the students. in various socio-economic setup, and also the pace, the direction, and the choice of the students that has been kept in mind. All the reforms are intended to make learning system of India a democratic one. So, in a sense, NEP 2020 is an effort to democratize education in the country. And when we talk about democratic education, this means education is available and education that really meets the learning needs of cross section of the society. And in this context, academic bank of credit is really the focal point which will drive learning system to be student centric. We all know what is academic credit. In India, choice-based credit system is in vogue for the last, I can safely say 2.5 decades in some institutions. In some institutions have embraced it later. But, almost everywhere in all education institutions, choice-based credit system is practiced. And here, credit is already defined here in this. So I'm sure that the participants, they are aware about the credit. What does credit mean? But just to recapitulate, credit is basic. The credit corresponds to the contact hours that the mentor has with the learners. Now, if some course is one credit, it means that in 18 week semester, there will be 18 contact hours. And per week, one contact hour with the students. So depending on if the course is 2 credit, 3 credit, 4 credits, the contact hours are multiplied, and for requirement of the course, the total contact hours, depending on the value of the credit, the contact hours are planned, and then that particular course is discussed with the students, and coupled with learning outcomes, because learning outcome is another important thing that is emphasized in NEP 2020, where we define that after pursuing a course or a program, this is the quantum of knowledge that students will have. And not only having the knowledge, but also they would be able to apply the knowledge that they have received. So learning outcome means defining the learning outcomes, or the knowledge that they will gain through pursuing a course or a program, and then they should also be able to apply those knowledge for the welfare of the society and the welfare of the nation. Though CBCS is called choice-based credit system, but if we see its composition, its structure, what we find is choices are limited only in terms of the major electives, and the minor electives are the open electives. And that constitute nearly 40% of the credit of the total program. So really not much choice is offered there. So to really make it choice based, this the concept of idea of academic bank of credits was envisaged. For our country, this is altogether new concept. But if we trace the history of academic bank of credits, we find that for the first time in South Korea, this concept was introduced in 1998, and since then, this is running successfully, and it is serving the learning needs of the students that are enrolled in education system or higher education system of Korea. And likewise, in the United States, it was implemented in 2002. And it's only in 2021 that we are planning to introduce it in learning system of India. Uh, you know, as the name indicates, academic credit bank, like, most of us, all of us have account in the bank uh, through which we make transactions for various purposes. So here also, there will be digital account for all those students who want to get benefit from this very provision, and they want to really uh, make maximum benefit out of this, and they need to satisfy their learning needs. One of the major drawbacks that the current learning system of our nation has is that it is very rigid, not flexible. And we define credit for every course, for every program. We define duration for the entire program. So this is one problem, one issue. And the other issue is that students are enrolled for the entire program in one educational institution. So, the academic backup credit, how it will alter, how it will transform the current learning system is, number one, though student can be enrolled, the student will be enrolled for a program only in one academic institution, but for courses, they can be enrolled in n number of academic institutions. So, implying that, as we all know, that every institution has its own uniqueness. It has the learning environment, the learning ecosystem, and it has the facilities, it has the expertise for mentoring the students. So if students are enrolled only in one academic institution, they have the advantage of the learning ecosystem of that institution only, facilities available in that institution, expertise available in that institution. So, we needed to break this barrier, and we thought that our youth should be able to learn from various learning ecosystems, and for that there should be provision for them to learn from various institutions. So this is the major huge advantage for learners, that simultaneously while pursuing a program they can learn from various learning systems, from various educational institutions. So they will be exposed to various learning environment, learning ecosystem, and also not only exposed, but they will have the real experience of learning from various ecosystems of learning. So this is one advantage. Another advantage, if we link it with our another major reform, that is multiple exit and multiple entry options. This is so in a way this will facilitate this provision also, a multiple entry and multiple exit. We all know now, as I said earlier, we have very rigid duration for the program. For example, n plus 2. If the program is 2 years duration, an additional 2 years is given to students to complete the program. If it is 3 years, an additional 2 years, 4 years, 2 years, or the additional 2 years. This is the current system, that the provision that the UGC has made. But if some student, by any chance, under any circumstances, if he or she is unable to complete the program within stipulated duration, then even if it is 3 years program, and even if the student has done successfully up to fifth semester, and if somehow he or she could not complete the sixth semester, then he is at loss. Nothing is in hand. He or she doesn't receive anything, and entire duration is wasted for the student, and the student has to again enroll in the program. So this is major bottleneck that the current learning system of India is having. So that is why for this, multiple entry and multiple exit option is given. We all know that, for example, in 4 years undergraduate program, if somebody completes first year And for any reason, for any justified reason, if he cannot continue with his studies, and if he quits the current system, if he quits, he doesn't get anything. But in this multiple entry and multiple exit system, if somebody wants to discontinue after first year, he will have a certificate. If somebody wants to quit after 2 years, he will have diploma. 3 years, he will have general graduation. So he's getting something, and to have give maximum benefit of it is the courses would be designed in such a way that first year, meaning 2 semesters, will be equivalent to a certificate course, and 4 semesters will be equivalent to a diploma, and so on and so forth. So this really gives democracy to the students to learn at their own pace, and there's no bar of duration fixed by UGC. Of course, there will be ultimately there will be some bar duration, limited duration that I will come later, but it will not be that much rigid as it is currently. So this will also academic bank of credit will also facilitate implementing multiple entry and multiple exit options. So this is another huge advantage. Now, coming back to Academic Bank of Credit, as I said earlier, say a student enrolled in MSc program in microbiology in Central University of Punjab, and so for the program, he or she will be the student of Central University of Punjab. But if he or she wants to pursue some courses from other institutions, then he will have freedom to do that. And here, how a student will know that a particular course is offered in the best possible manner in X or Y or Z institution. That he or she will come to know by mapping the learning outcomes, graduate outcomes and learning outcomes that every education institute has to upload in its website. So a student will have chance to map the courses, the learning outcomes, and the quantum of learning, and not only the quantum, but also the quality of learning. And not even further beyond that, what he or she actually wants to learn after pursuing a course. So the one that will map closely with the aspiration of the student, with learning needs of the student will have option to learn to earn credit for that course from some other institution. That is why I said that it is really the democratization of education. And so this is another advantage. Now, as we all know that every program has a credit. Some institutions, say for example, have 90 credit, PG program. Some have 80 credits, some 82 credits, some 86 credits. So these credits are for the entire program. Then there are credits assigned to each of the courses under the program. And likewise, so this every institution does anyway under choice-based credit system, and this will be further consolidated to meet the requirement of academic backup credit. Now, this is in a limited way already happening in our country in the form of MOOCs, which are run through same platform. And students are opting for MOOC offered by other institutions. Not all education institutions of the country are offering MOOC, number one. Some are offering few courses, some are offering large number of courses. For example, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Viswavidyalaya Sagar is offering around 14 courses. Central University of Punjab is currently offering only 2 courses. And so, students can opt the MOOC offered by the institution where they are enrolled, registered for the program. They can also offer. They can also take MOOCs offered by other education institutions. Currently, NTA is organizing, examination for MOOCs, and they are also transferring credit to the students, credit to the institutions where they are registered. So this arrangement is already there. What we can say that safely that this is not entirely new thing that is going to happen. Large number of students are already privy to this arrangement. They are already offering MOOC courses. For example, from Central University of Punjab, around 200 students are offering. We don't have large number of students because we are offering only PG program, PG and PhD programs. So, around 200 students of Punjab are opted for MOOC offered by other institutions. And our credits are, and the NTAs after examination, evaluation, they are, transferring credit to us manually. And then we enter those credits in the transcript. So this is the current arrangement. Now, this, the Minister of Education and University Grants Commission wants to further consolidate this, further scale it up, so that the real benefit of this arrangement goes to the learners. And that is why Academic Bank of Credit, this bank, as I said earlier, would be a digital account in the name of all students. And the agency has to be created for for validation of credit, for credit transfer in the account, and for transferring that credit in the transcript. So now, there are other advantages of this also. For example, they can not only, students do not have option only to earn credit pertaining to their programs. They can also earn credit outside the program. And as soon as they accumulate the number of credit required for completing a program, they can walk away with the degree. And degree here does not only mean UG and PhD degree, this also includes certificate, diploma, and advanced diploma. Because for all these, the actual credits for passing certificate, for diploma, for degree would be defined. So as soon as the credit is accumulated, they can walk away with the either certificate or diploma or degree, UG degree or PG degree, whatever they are concerned with. So, this is, and, here another beauty of this is, though what is currently thought, that what would be the validity of the account. So, what is stipulated now is 7 years, that they can continue to accumulate credits up to 7 years, and, within 7 years, they can, earn the required credit required for passing a program or certificate, and then they can walk away with the degree. So, this is one. Why 7 years is taken into account is because we know that the content, the syllabus, is updated quite frequently now, because the changes are happening very fast. New knowledge is created, the new insights into already known knowledge emerge, and we have to make our syllabus current and relevant. Therefore, quite often, the syllabus is updated. And what is stipulated is that, after 7 years, the entire course content, or at least 50-60% of the course content, will be updated. So therefore, and we don't want to give the stale knowledge to our students. So that is why, 7 years period is stipulated. This is, it's not very sacrosanct. It may change also. So, this, so that is why, initially this 7 years validity for the account is stipulated, in the regulation that is framed by University Grants Commission. So within this, they can earn credits. So across, and, another advantage of our, NEP 2020 is multidisciplinary education. That is why provision is made here that they can earn credits from the courses beyond their program also. So it is really, they can have the learning experience of various disciplines, the courses of their choice. For example, if some student is a science student graduate, is interested in some music course, he can do that. And likewise, whatever is his or her interest area, they can select course from that, and this can be done. So, another is because student will be enrolled for a program in particular institution. So minimum credit need to be defined, which they earn from the institution where they are registered for the degree. And that, what is currently thought is that that could be around 50% of the total credit of the program. The student has to necessarily earn from the institution where he or she is enrolled for the program. Uh, so this is one. Now, another advantage, another thing is that students can earn credit for the courses from other institutions in both the modes, in offline mode as well as in online mode. So this is another freedom to the students. Like for example, currently MOOCs are offered in online mode. So it is purely online. But if some student wish to earn, for example, a student of Central University of Punjab, he wants to pursue a course in IIT Bombay, IIT Powai, or in Jawaharlal Nehru University, or in Ramanujan College, you know, he or she can personally go there, physically go there, and can attend classes and earn credit. So both the provisions, those who cannot afford, taking offline courses, they can do in online mode also. So this is a sort of, the blended type of thing where we talk about blending of offline and online, which is emerging very fast now, because we all know that our country is cannot pump in the required amount of money in the education sector for obvious reasons, and therefore, we don't have the type of infrastructure, the type of manpower, and other amenities and facilities. So, and also students come from various socioeconomic backgrounds and they cannot afford. Online has the advantage that they don't have to spend. They can remain in their parent organization, and in online mode they can pursue courses and earn credits. So this is one, and beside all this, what is actually happening is that students are, they will have opportunity to learn in offline mode, face-to-face mode, where they will get ample opportunity to, to have interactive session in the classrooms, and they really learn. So this is one, and the other one is online. And then also, University Grants Commission has already uploaded guidelines on blended learning, the blend of for a course. Here, offline, entire course offline, one model, entire course online, one model, and the course having both offline and online component. And the ratio of online and offline will depend on the nature of the course. So blended learning, which is proving very effective now, because we all say now, for the sake of discussion, we say that online classes, online learning is not as effective as the offline, because there's not much scope for interaction. There's no eye-to-eye contact with the mentor, and we are not really sure in online mode whether all the students are really learning, whether they are present physically even, and they are attentive or not, whether they really understood or not. This is there. But this offline learning also, because the online learning has several other advantages. Like as I said earlier, that they don't have to go to place, institution from where they want to earn additional credit. And they save a lot of time, money, energy in traveling, staying in two places. They should be having two establishments, or three, or four, or five establishments. If they want to earn credit from n number of institutions, they have to make stay arrangement all. So offline, in situation like this, and there are a lot of reforms happening, and with the help of AI, artificial intelligence, and other disruptive technologies, the online blended learning and online learning is really becoming effective day by day. Reforms are happening, and now the industry is working to make online classes also as interactive as the offline classes. So all these changes will happen. Now, this is great opportunity for our students to really make use of this. As I said, that it is democratization of education. Therefore, students will have option either to opt for ABC or not opt for that. It won't be forced upon them. You know, yes, and that is why perhaps this Ramanujan College is organizing this session so that we really know the nuances of this ABC and prepare our students to really embrace it, and tell them the advantages of this, and how they will be actually benefited. And so this is really, in my opinion, very win-win situation for the learners. Now they have to really make use of this. You know, uh, and for implementing academic bank of credit, n number of OPRs are available. MOOCs are already there, as I said. Besides that, there are several things like EPG Pathshala, like NPTEL, like ICT. So several other programs. Government of India has spent a lot on this to make our education system current and relevant one. And it is not that the academic bank of credit is brought all of a sudden. There are several learning systems. You know that traditional learning systems where students are physically present in the education institutions for the entire duration of the program. They earn, they learn, they complete their program, and then they walk away with the degree. Then there are these ODLs where there are limited contact hours. They have to go to institutions where they are registered for a certain period of time, and the rest, they can uh, study on their own, a sort of self-directed learning, and so it is combination of both. Uh, and then we have the open learning system, like we have IGNOU and all. And then another landmark change that the University Grants Commission has done is that some programs for working group of people, because as we all know that it is lifelong learning. So for making learning lifelong, such provisions have to be created. So, in essence, these are the essential features of our academic bank of credit that is stipulated in our regulation that University Grants Commission has uploaded in the beginning of this year, and several suggestions have been received to further fine tune this, and and likewise, this and University Grants Commission is in the process of finalizing this, and Minister of Education, as far as I know, plans to implement this academic backup credit from the coming academic session, that is 2021-22, and to make it popularized so that the students are really benefited and they derive maximum benefit out of this new initiative. This is, as I said earlier, this is going to be entirely new initiative in the learning system of India. Though in foreign countries it has become very old, it is running very successfully, and this, it is not only in terms of, as I said earlier, that the core courses or the courses that are available under the major elective category or the open elective category. The students here have option to earn credit for courses like for skill development courses, for vocational courses. So this this will be done. Now, as we all know that in NEP 2020, there will be an overarching governance structure, regulatory structure that is called HECI. And under this, Heki, there will be four verticals. One is for enforcing the regulation, framing and enforcing the regulation, not exactly enforcing, but monitoring the regulations. Then the second one is for accreditation, third one is for financing, and the fourth one, which is called General Education Council, GEC, the fourth vertical, in my opinion, is very important vertical because the for two, three reasons. One is that the mechanism for multiple exit and multiple entry would be worked out for by this GEC, number one. Number two, graduate attitudes and learning outcomes will also be worked out by GEC. And GEC will not only encompass the members from the traditional universities like UGC is having now, but it will also have representation from professional bodies, skill development bodies, and vocational the bodies that are regulating vocational courses. So this is combination of all type of the core domain knowledge as well as the skill domain as well as the vocational domain and also professional courses. So they will be all constituent member of this and they will be setting standards. These are called standard setting professional bodies. That is very important. Because as I said earlier, student will have option to choose the course. They will have informed choices for the courses because they will come to know the learning outcomes and their application potential of learning outcomes, and based on that, they will be free to select the courses, programs also. There will be graduate attributes for all the programs and learning outcomes for all the courses. So this will give them ample opportunity to select what to learn and what not to learn. Number one, from where to learn and from where not to learn as well. This is number two. And they will have exposure to different learning environments, different types of facilities, different learning ecosystems. So I just said earlier, this is sort of win-win situation. Now I understand that most of the participant in this program are the teachers. And here, the beauty of this GEC is that GEC will open teachers for working for determining graduate attributes. They will be open teachers for learning outcomes. So, and then the multiple exit and multiple entry option that the academic bank of credit will really facilitate uh, is there's great challenge for the teachers for implementing GEC and for academic bank of credit and in conjunction with multiple entry and multiple exit options. Why I say is that now we have a tremendous task. The teaching community of India have to uh, has tremendous responsibility, great responsibility, in the sense that you know uh, what multiple entry, multiple exit says is if somebody is registered in undergraduate program, if he or she cannot continue after first year, then he will walk away with the certificate. After 2 years, diploma. After 3 years, general graduation. Then 4 years, graduation with honors. Now, see the now it is said very easily. But what is the difficulty here? Challenge, not difficulty. The challenge here that we have to align our courses in such a way that it is advantageous for both who will exit, who after first year or after second year, and who will continue. Because once we design the first year course so as to make it equivalent to certificate, second year course so as to make it equivalent to degree, but at the same time we also need to satisfy the learning needs of those who will continue. So the trick is here, and this is great challenge. So academic bank of credit can become successful only when we, the teaching community of our nation, really understand the nuances of all this and really prove ourselves worthy of framing the the curriculum as well as the course content and the courses within that, courses and then course content. So this, uh, so that the learning needs and the philosophy, the basic foundation and the intention that NEP 2020 wants to fulfill, that is really done, and student community, our youth really get opportunity to learn in the current and relevant curricular framework, the syllabus, and the learning outcomes. So this way, this academic bank of credit really makes the learning system lively, and uh, and it covers all spectrum, all socioeconomic spectrum of our nation. As I said earlier, the pace in which they want to learn, the choices of the courses, direction of the courses, and also the choices of the places from where they want to learn. And that is why this gives so much freedom to the learners, and that is why I said in the beginning that this ABC will really, in conjunction with multiple entry and exit options, we really visualize the learning system of India. It will make it current and relevant, and this will ultimately lead to the democratization of education in the country. So, this is what that I wanted to say, but I don't know whether there is any provision for interaction, on this issue. If there are some questions, because I, for one, I always encourage that after every discussion, the concept is given, and then there should be question answer hours, so that whatever queries are there in the mind of the participants, that can be addressed, and the participants really make the make good use of the time that they're spending in attending programs like this, and they really, and I always say that there should be learning outcome of each program that we conduct. So those who will successfully complete this, they will they really get something out of these programs, and they're really dedicated. So if there are some queries, some
So,
questions, yeah,
okay, thank you, sir. So, can I ask questions now?
yes, please.
Okay. So, the very first question is: can a commerce student can go for understanding physics?
Commerce and physics. Here the choice is with the student. See, we know that University Grants Commission has introduced the concept of, if we see the eligibility for assistant professor, associate professor, and professor. What UGC says is that post graduation with 55% marks in concerned, relevant, and allied discipline. Now, this is the era of multidisciplinary and even transdisciplinary learning. Because, every subject has interfacing with n number of subjects. So, and that means they don't have to learn only that subject, but they have to learn all relevant and discipline, and that is why UGC has made this provision. So, it is, of course, In my opinion, there should be provision, and there is provision that students can learn courses which are not part of the program that they are pursuing. But what would be the percentage of that and all? This detail has to be worked out. There is already provision. The idea is there that they can opt courses which are not integral part of the program which they are pursuing. This idea is very much there, but this need to be further consolidated. It needs to be further, elaborated, so that it is crystal clear to all the learners.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is there any government scheme for availability of e-devices to the learners?
E-devices to the learners. I mean, you know that the various state governments, they have already provided like laptops. The various state governments, they have provided laptops. I remember a couple of states that they have given laptops, etc. Yeah, digital divide is the biggest issue. When we talk about online learning, when we talk about blended learning and flipped learning, all these things, no, really need the devices, the ICT tools, without which it is not possible. And that is why, the various educationists have expressed their reservation about it, about online learning, about blended learning, about flipped learning. So, this, yeah, I mean, if left to me, I really wish, I most sincerely wish that this is provided to all the students. I don't know what government will do, but if we want to really democratize education, if we really want that the reforms really reach to every section of the society, then not only the digital tools, but also government must ensure the availability of high bandwidth stable internet connection in every hook and corner of the country.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is by Amar, Amar Kuril. Sir, what about science practical of Maharashtra student if he has online admission to IIT Delhi?
Practicals.
Yes, sir.
The virtual labs are coming in a big way. We all know that education institutes are offering graduation program in science disciplines, and say first year students, first semester students who were admitted last year in July, they have not yet entered the campus. They have not yet entered their parent organization. Okay, and they have completed. Some students have already completed. In some, they are completing their first semester. So, and if we, that is why the several organizations have taken the course of virtual labs and practicals. They are doing practicals to virtual labs, and that is why uh, the when there is need, there is discovery for that. When there's a real requirement, things are made available by the industrialist and all. So, this scaling up of virtual labs have to happen because, now this corona pandemic has taught us that we have to be ready for any eventuality. Now, the the world order has become really very unstable, unpredictable. So we have to be ready. And these are the challenges for us. And challenges here, I mean that these are great opportunities for us to learn from the past and from the current and and be futuristic and be ready for the future to face such challenges and convert them into opportunities. So virtual labs are currently the answer for this.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, sir, is our society and institutions ready for job opportunity to such learners having a mixture of studied program in their degree?
Pardon, are the institutions are ready for the job opportunity?
Yes, sir. To such learners having a mixture of studied program in their degree.
To such learners having studied
Having a mixture of studied program in their degree.
mixture of studied programs.
Yes, sir.
This is not clear to me. Mixture of studied programs. Mixture of
So
means what?
I
Blending
guess
of
the
what?
person is asking if the person is having a degree of more than one stream, like subjects of more than one stream. So are the market job opportunities there for that the same?
Market job opportunities. Uh, you know, uh, uh, the major drawback of current learning system is unemployability. And why it is so? Because what youth we produce is they do not match the skill that is required in the industry. Not only industry, but also for becoming entrepreneurs. So that type of skill is not inculcated. And that is why the concept of learning outcome based curriculum framework is very important. That is why graduate attributes are very important. And that is why experiential learning is very important. The offline learning per se, online learning per se, or blended learning per se will not give you the job. What will give you the job is that what is the quantum of applicable knowledge that you have received during your program or during your course. That you see, that is very important. And that can happen when alongside hard skills, we also inculcate soft skills, life skills, what we call it. Like what used to happen in Gurukuls. 64 skills were taught, almost all skills that were required to lead life those days. So all skills were taught. And but when we embraced this Machiavellian system of education, we learnt only the hard skills from the education institutions. And now, for the last 7, 8 years, 10 years, the government of India has thought that this is not the done thing, and that is why now there's emphasis on skill development, entrepreneurship, and that is why the government of India has launched this incubation scheme. Incubators need to be set up where the proof of concept of the youths. Youths are they have multiple intelligence, they have enormous capability and capacity. We do not provide the matching mentoring to them in the education institutions. That is the real problem. We organized idea hackathon in our organization, our university. Very brilliant ideas came from the students. So those ideas, in fact, are to be converted into proof of concepts, and then in the incubations, and once proved, then they can become entrepreneurs. See, job in the government sector, we all know that they cannot meet the job requirement of all our huge population. So industry is another thing. So we have to have very close coordination with industry. I'm hearing this word academy, industrial collaboration for the last 2 decades. But how much actually we have done? And there have been efforts like UGC started community college concept, and under which they have granted n number of skill development programs. Like, where I was serving earlier in Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Visvidhalaya, when I joined in 1915, there was nothing. 16, we got one. And now there are 15 skill development courses that university is offering. And the beauty of these courses, see the point that I'm trying to drive at, the beauty of such courses is that for every course, there's tie up with the industry. And industry will mentor those students, and then they will observe them. So UGC doesn't grant any skill development course to any community college or central university unless this certification is provided by the university that they have link with the industry, commitment by the industry to really you know, give them experiential learning, practicals, and whatever is required in the industry. So the training for under that skill development programs will be imparted to meet the specific requirement of that industry from which they have entered into MOU. So, like this, the job will come through such a way, not, by government job. Those are the gone days now. We were lucky that we got government jobs. Our youth are not that much lucky. We were fortunate that we were born about 60 or 70 years old, and we had all the luxury of the government sponsored jobs and all. Now our youth have to struggle a lot to really learn some skill which they can use, which they can convert them into meaningful economic enterprise. That is the buzzword now.
Thank you, sir. So, can I take more questions now?
Yeah.
So, the next question is there any fee regulatory body for fee of such courses from various institutions as it is? Because variable cost for same degree and finally feeling of poverty and resource scarcity remain same.
Poverty and resource scarcity.
Scarcity.
Yeah. The slogan that, the geographic dividend and, huge young population of the country. The problem is, though we are very large country, seventh in terms of area, huge resources, but our population is such that the per capita availability of resources, based on that we arrange the countries of the world, we will not figure in top 100 per capita availability of resources because of huge population. So, this, skill development, entrepreneurship, self employments, these are the buzzwords that, and through this only we can improve, we can really take our economy to 3 trillion economy, what is envisaged, and the growth rate in double digits, what our late honorable president Dr. Abdul Kalam always propagated this idea that India has to soon witness double digit growth. So this, uh, in spite of the best efforts of the government, uh, you know, uh, that cannot be done, because of this huge population. This is this is really has, caused, tremendous difficulty to the nation, for the nation. So, this, so the whole focus. Now, why I'm telling, why I say that government cannot ensure all resources to everyone is because even the minimum resources, as you said that, and as I said that every student should have the laptop. So, you see, the reason is that India is largely welfare state. Huge chunk of our resources goes in welfare measures and at the cost of development measures. We are we are we are welfare state. Therefore, government has to launch n number of welfare measures to meet the requirement of the lower economic strata, people of lower economic strata. So for that, welfare measures are taken. Huge chunk of resources, annual budget goes on that. So the development schemes are suffering. So this, uh, you know, uh, though we wish that there should not be resource crunch, but we have to also see what are the resources available to us, what is the population. Unless large section of the population of the nation participates in economic meaningful activity, and that can happen through such initiatives only. Skill development, entrepreneurship. And for skill development, we the teachers have to be ready to really impart some skills. Gardener, he said that there are 9 types of intelligences that youth have, that the human beings have. Some have one, some have two, some have three, some have four. Some billion people have all 9 types of intelligences. So every youth is endowed with some sort of intelligence. And he or she has to recognize that. And the mentors, more than that, mentors need to recognize that. And they have to sharpen that intelligence in them. They have to further sharpen that so that students come out of their inhibitions and they really sharpen that area of intellect and convert that into skill and then use that skill to engage themselves in meaningful economic activity.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, who will decide the reliability of course certificate?
You see, yes, there will be arrangement under Academic Bank of Credit. As I said earlier, there will be institution. Maybe at the moment I don't know, but GC says that there will be agency to for ensuring smooth transfer of credits, its deposit in the account, then its validation, then transferring it into transcript. So this would be done by agency. As I said earlier, currently for MOOC courses, NTA, National Testing Agency, is doing this. So there will be certainly an agency, arrangement will be made to facilitate this.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, at PG level, one student take admission in physics and learn through ABC mode paper of chemistry, psychology, sociology, music, and political science, and so on. In which subject he or she will be eligible?
See, as I said that 50% of the credits has to be, minimum 50% has to be from the core domain knowledge in which the student is enrolled. Core domain knowledge of the program in which student is enrolled. And rest he or she can learn from allied subjects, from relevant subjects, from subject he can earn from the courses of his or her own interest. So minimum 50% has to be from the domain knowledge, and then he or she will get degree in that discipline.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, can I take more questions?
Yes, please, please, yeah.
So next question is, can we expect students to be aware of different subjects, courses, combinations before joining an institution? Who will guide them and bring awareness among them? Does it work in Indian context?
Yeah, if we want to progress, we have to make it work. You very rightly said that there is a resource crunch. And if we want to overcome this, then this has to be done. Without that, it is not possible. And that is why now the uh, every institution is working now to implement NEP 2020, and every institution is effecting large scale change in the curriculum framework. So, there will be, in addition to your core courses, in addition to major electives, open electives, there will be skill development courses, there will be IDC courses, and there will be options left open to select courses from other disciplines. So, this curriculum framework, broad curriculum framework, and then discipline-wise curriculum framework. These every institution now has to upload in the website alongside, and that will also include learning outcomes, graduate attributes. So students had the option to go through that, and they have option to select the program and the institution. So this will be there. Every and even the NAC makes it mandatory to upload curricular framework, syllabus, courses, along with all the details like the credits and the type of courses they offer, everything has to be disclosed. And many institutions have already done it.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, will ABC scheme have any effect on entrance exam as need and pressure on students?
And does ABC have effect on entrance examination?
Yeah.
And then pressure on them.
So, will ABC scheme have any effect on entrance exams as NEET and pressure on students?
See, entrance exam is another thing. This ABC is after uh, students get success in the entrance exam and get enrolled in some institution. So it has nothing to do with the entrance examination. For ABC, you don't have to give any entrance examination separately. Of course, for admissions, several institutions are conducting entrance examinations either individually or collectively, and government of India is thinking to implement common entrance examination for admissions in all the central universities. So that is separate, and this one ABC is separate. So and ABC will not create exert undue pressure on the students. Rather, it will ease out pressure from the students.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, the student will need to do the curriculum, but now to do the course from places it was taught better. For example, elective A from one university and elective B from another university.
Yeah. So this can happen. This is possible.
Thank you, sir. Next question is there any special training provisions or specific requirement for teachers who will be a part of ABC scheme?
ABC, yeah, there is provision for enhancing uh, capacity of the teachers. Teachers training program, they are already there. Like we all know that there are 86 HRDCs, Human Resource Development Centers. Besides that, Government of Ministry of Education under the scheme of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya mission, National Mission on Teachers and Trainings. So under this, they have sanctioned School of Education, teaching learning centers, and several other things for developing teachers' capabilities for making for training them with the latest in the education. This is there, and likewise there will be, and then there is already online refresher course for teachers that is called RP. So these things are there, but of course for NEP 2020, there will be training programs for teachers so that they can become really well aware of, and they are able to implement this and really help the students.
Thank you, sir. Next question is there any provision of learning for in-service candidate in ABC scheme who already have PhD in a discipline as per old scheme?
Yeah, that's why I said that uh, UGC last year approved program for BITS Pilani. They wanted to offer a program for working group of people, and they did it. Now here in this case, through online mode, and simultaneous, not only that, students also have facility to pursue two courses simultaneously, but one, not both in offline mode. One has to be in offline mode, another has to be in online mode. So working group of people, they can maybe not entire program, but they can be enrolled for certain courses, their interest area. If they are interested in some course, they can be enrolled.
Thank you, sir. Next question who is going to define the program and who would define what courses are integral for that program and what can be learned choice based and earning them through the ABC.
This teachers have to do, and as I said, GEC, General Education Council, will be the coordinating body, and GEC will take the help of teachers to do all this.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, things will be started from top level, that is UGC, Ministry of Education, or from the state level.
You see, ma'am, Ministry of Education job is to provide policy framework to get scheme devised. UGC job is to uh, provide enabling regulations, regulatory framework, and the implementation part is on the educational institutions.
Okay,
So
next, thank you, sir.
implementation has to be done by the educational institutions.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, choice to learn more is a good opportunity to enhance your learning, but what about the employability part?
Yeah, that is why, when how do you select a course depending on your choice, what you like most, what you want to learn, what is your core strength, what is your desire, what you really want to learn. So sort of, I'm eager to learn this. So this comes out of selection, comes out of eagerness. Now in ABC, it will come out of eagerness. Uh, so uh, if I'm really interested in a course, that means that is my interest area number one. That means that is my strength. I can learn this course in much better way. Why students zero down into course? Because they can learn that in the best possible manner. They have some skill to learn that course, and that keeping in view the learning outcome of that course, they will match the learning outcomes with their desire to learn. So this way, naturally, they will develop some skill in the process. And you know, as you asked in the beginning, that curriculum framework, syllabus and all. So there will be opportunity, and many institutions are already doing. They are mapping the requirement of the industry. They are mapping the requirement of the NGOs. They are mapping the requirement of other agencies, and then they are accordingly they are designing the syllabus. Now those days are gone when anything will be put in the syllabus, whether that is really beneficial for the students or not. And even the teachers, we have to all the teachers, we have to come out of our comfort zone, and we have to mentor the students the way they the way they are most suitable with, they are most comfortable with. See, we the teacher need to teach the learners, students, the way they can learn most, not the way I can teach. So that is the difference. Teacher centric, student centric. I teach the way I can. This thought process, this mentality is not going to work, and our youth will not be empowered with the necessary skills with this approach. So our approach has to be that we should teach. I should be able to teach the students through which are with the technique through which they can really learn. Really learn means Bloom's taxonomy, six level of learning, not only receiving information, but also we should make the students to really, synthesize the information, analyze it, draw inference, and then apply that knowledge. So, that is what is the Bloom's taxonomy. And that is why there's a lot of emphasis in this NEP 2020 for experiential learning. And another thing, and the emphasis is not on what to learn, but how to learn, because with my experience in the higher education, I can safely say that in UG and PG put together, whatever we teach to the students in a particular subject, beside that, that is not more than 50% of the domain knowledge available in that subject. So if they only learn what we teach them, if they don't develop the skill of learning themselves, the art, if they do not know the art of learning, then they cannot learn what is not taught to them. So the emphasis is on not what to teach them, not really what certain topics to teach them, but to inculcate in them the art of learning so that they can learn themselves. And this is very important because I can tell you very frankly that what I learned in my PG program in applied geology 40 years ago, now 50, 60, 70, at least 60% has become irrelevant now. So if I continue to teach what I taught earlier, that is not going to help the students. And what I have learned today, what students are learning today, after 5 years, that will not be relevant. So they have to unlearn what they have learned today, and then they have to relearn what is relevant down the line after 5 years or after 10 years. So this learn, unlearn, and relearn model, this only can help the students. And in this, we need to, teachers' job is to inculcate in learners this tendency, this habit.
Thank you, sir. Next question is compatibility of courses throughout the country is not uniform. Then how ABC is fully functional?
See, learning needs of the students is not uniform. Why compatibility of the courses has to be uniform? It should be diverse. It should be able to meet the learning needs of diverse section of the society. So if it is
Thank,
uniform, it cannot meet the learning needs of different sections of learners.
thank you, sir. The next question is how to strike the right kind of balance between knowledge from specialization and that from interdisciplinary learning under ABC.
See, now it is all interdisciplinary. I tell you, you take the the Nobel Prize winners for the last 20 years in chemistry, in physics, in biology, in economics. What you find is that this prize goes to those who work in multidisciplinary areas, not in the core physics or in core chemistry or core economics, in multidisciplinary areas. Okay? So, uh, combining one subject, keeping one subject at the core and all other allied and relevant subjects, from where the core subject draws strength and from where the issues of the core subjects, the problems associated with core disciplines can be solved. So that is the beauty of multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary approach.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can I take more questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, next question is what about PG courses? If a student has geography, chemistry, music, Sanskrit, how will ABC be applied to PG students?
No, PG student, uh, I give the example. If somebody is enrolled in MSc Zoology, okay, now he needs to learn some courses from microbiology. He needs to learn some courses from biotechnology. He needs to learn some courses from biochemistry. Okay, so this there is a specific discipline has interfacing with certain subjects. So this, so he or she has to decide, and the teachers have to guide them. Uh, what are the subjects with which the core subject has interfacing? This is number one. Then, students can opt only those courses outside this multidisciplinary approach where students wants to learn. Supposing student MSc Physics, if he wants to learn music, if he wants to play tabla or some other instruments, musical instruments, performed by hand or by mouth. So, their interest learning, their interest area, they can take from that. But it doesn't mean that that will help them in fetching job. Now, but if they want to build on that, their interest area later on, they can do that. But so it is a very careful choices of subjects, not any combination that they think. They have to see the relevance of the combinations, and through which they can really learn, some skills.
Okay, thank you, sir. So next question is, uh, who made the overall assessment of the students, hosting institution or mother institution?
Pardon?
Who will make the overall assessment of the student, hosting institution or mother institution?
See, whatever courses they will pursue in the mother institution, that will be evaluated by mother institution. But if they are pursuing course, say from IIT Bombay, the course coordinator will examine and evaluate. So it's like this. For those courses which they are pursuing from mother institution will evaluate those courses, award credits, and for other courses, the institution from where they are pursuing that course, that will be evaluated by those institutions.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, in the COVID situation, every student cannot attend virtual classes due to their reasons, either rural area or some other reason, and there is no internet connectivity. Then how it will be possible?
Yeah, that problem is there, but at the same time, there cannot be, we should not, spoil the year of the students. Supposing we don't do that, because they cannot attend class, online class, this, that. Can we halt, can we declare the academic session zero? Or how long we will declare the academic session zero? So the show must go on, and that is why UGC made arrangement. Those who can take examinations when institution plan, they can do. Those who will not be able to do exams for justified reasons, for them organization will arrange extra examinations. Or even those who are not attended, for them they can attend later on.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, are there provisions for compulsory on campus experiential peer learning to cultivate soft skills in the students?
Yeah, that is why, under NEP 2020, several things. You see, the our education system should embrace two models. One is teaching-based research, and the other one is research-based teaching. So, teaching-based research should be in the undergraduate level, and research-based teaching has to be in the PG level. What is happening now is student has done graduation, but they don't have projects, they don't have study tools, they don't have industrial visits, they don't have case studies. Because learning experience for different disciplines mean different. So that is why now NAP has made provision for all this, and accordingly educational institutions are having more and more. Some institutions I know, MSc 2S program, 1 year they have only projects, internship in the industry. So these things, we have to scale it up. Every institution should plan for this. But as you rightly said, resource crunch is the major bottleneck, because all the education institutes are not having enough resources to implement this. But in many institutions, this is happening.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, what will be the opportunities of a faculty to teach in other institutions if a faculty do not get more opportunities to teach where he or she is employed?
Pardon? See, now, I gave the example of MOOCs. Like teachers from universities are developing MOOCs. Okay? So that means they are working extra hours in addition to taking classes. They are making MOOCs. So, and they are offering. For example, as I said earlier, we are offering two courses. So our teachers and students enrollment in those courses is 1,000. Hardly 30 students are from our university. Remaining students are from other universities. So, this is one mechanism where teachers are, teaching students from other institutions. So likewise, in academic bank of credit also, this idea will be further escalated, strengthened. But, we have to come forward. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to design the best course. Then only students from other organizations will opt for that. Now with online teaching, it is not necessary that teacher had to really physically go in other institutions to teach.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, so actually there are a few questions participants are asking how it is applicable in their streams like mathematical sciences, chemistry, economics. There are three different questions. I've just clubbed them. They are asking how ABC is applicable in these three streams.
No, this is very, economics without mathematics is no economics, like econometrics and all. You cannot do without mathematics.
And also,
And
sir, for how it is good for literature and Hindi students. Like there are different people, different participants are asking how their ABC is applicable in their stream.
yes, like, see, that is what I said in the beginning, that if some students are enrolled in MO economics in our university, and there are, say, around 20 courses are taught. Now, other institutions are also offering those courses. So students can compare. These are offered in MOOCs, or they can offer beyond MOOC also. So they will see that through learning outcomes, where our course is beneficial to them, or the course offered by, say, for example, Delhi School of Economics. So if they think that Delhi Economics course on, for example, econometrics is better, they can opt from there. So this is beneficial to all across the discipline, not only to science.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, how will institutions share fees? Will the student pay course wise at each institution?
Fees.
Yes, sir.
So, for example, if for the entire course, the fee is, say, for example, 2,000. So, and the course fee, they have to pay only course fee. That would be very nominal, maybe 400, 500. So it won't be huge fees that, they don't have to pay for the entire program in other institutions. They have to pay fee only for that course, not for the entire program.
Okay, thank you, sir. So next question is, what about courses at advanced level which need learners to have basic knowledge of the subject? For example, for a course in metabolism, the student has to first study fundamental of biomolecules.
Hmm. So,
So the question is like for advanced level courses where the student need to have some basic knowledge, what will happen to them?
so basic
So
knowledge is important at the graduation level. Advanced knowledge comes in the PG level, isn't it?
okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just reading
Hmm.
the questions from the
Yeah, yeah,
YouTube
please. Take
live.
it, no problem.
Okay, so next question is, can a student undertake theory at one institute and practical at other institute or at industry for subjects of engineering?
Yeah, theory in one institution and practical. Yes, practical is separate course. So practical, many institutions are not having virtual labs. Some institutions may be offering practical in online mode. So that virtual lab, through virtual lab, so that is possible. But if organization is not having arrangement of virtual lab, then that is not possible.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, another question is how banking of credit leads to a degree?
MSc course in microbiology 90 credit. So they have to earn that credit 90.
Okay. Thank
So
you, sir.
if 90 credit is accumulated in the bank, they can claim their degree.
Thank you, sir. So, next question is do skill or learning more determine knowledge of a degree? And what is in ABC to improve the professional skill and values of ABC?
Professional skills.
Yes, sir.
See, that is why now, this graduate attributes, learning outcomes, experiential learning, all these things are intended to develop skill in students in that area. Okay. So, if this really happens, then there is every chance that student will come out with some skill in that discipline.
Thank you, sir. Next question is do ABC is like getting dual degree?
Dual degree.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I mean they can get dual degree, but dual degree not simultaneously, because as I said that every program will have the credit, and that has to be earned. So they will get one degree, and if they want to have another degree, they can continue. And they can as soon as they accumulate credit equivalent to another degree, they can get that.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have covered all the questions. Other questions are now repetitive. The chat box, the live chat is full of your thank you messages, very informative sessions. Before we wind up the session, I take this opportunity to thank you, sir, for discussing the concepts of academic bank of credits, new paradigms, fragment learning, transfer credit system, and degree granting authority in such a simpler manner and easy to understand pedagogy. And it made us clear all the concept. You answered all the questions. Really, thank you, sir. It's an honor to have you with us, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm thankful to the administration of giving me this opportunity. And I wish all participants a very bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And to all the participants, we will continue with this link only. We will start the session sharp at 4. So kindly come back in next 10 minutes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Anshika. Thank you, Dr. Anjali,
Thank you,
Purushottam,
ma'am.
and everybody. And thanks to all the participants.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible now?
Good evening. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So shall we start the session?
Yeah, we can start.
I'll just start with the introduction. Good evening to one and all present here. Welcome you all to our session on academic bank of credit, ATP implementation, and PGDM. We have with us Professor Gabriel Simon Thatil, Department of Commerce, University of Kerala. Sir was awarded MCom from MG University with first class in 1988, MPhil with A grade and first rank from University of Kerala, PhD from Department of Commerce and Management Studies of University of Calicut, PGD HRM from IGNOU, and MBA with first class from Annamalai University. He qualified for UGC Junior Research Fellowship in 1992. A uniformly good academic career with regard of excellence can be claimed. He has over 28 years of teaching and research experience, teaching at undergraduate, postgraduate levels for MCom, MBA, MPhil, and other PG diplomas, and guiding MPhil and doctoral work. Sir has successfully guided 29 PhDs and over 44 MPhils. He is the author of 3 books and has several publications to his credit. Sir has also acted as chair as well as invited speaker in several national and international seminars across the country. He acted as the project coordinator for 2 major research projects of the Department of Commerce and was the coordinator for the SAP UGC project, coordinator for the innovative project of the department, and has executed a major consultancy work for Federal Bank on behalf of the university. He has acted as the department coordinator for their extension programs as well as linkage programs with specialized institutions like IITM. He was the coordinator for 3 international seminars and several national seminars and workshops, besides acting as the organizing secretary for the All India Accounting Conference. Currently, he is the governing board member of Center of Development Studies, Thiruvananthapuram, and chief editor of Indian Journal of Accounting, the formal journal of Indian Accounting Association, which has 53 branches across the country, and is the director of International Quality Assurance Cell of the University of Kerala. We're really honored to have you with us, sir, today. We welcome you once again to the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And the screen is also visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once again, good evening to one and all. Thank you for this opportunity. I thank the organizers, the Indian Accounting Association, NRC branch, Ramanujam College, and the team which are actually involved in this task. And again, I'm happy that we are looking at a theme of choice-based credit semester system in the backdrop of, I think, a couple of things. One will be the national education policy and the launching of Academic Bank of Credit and NAD, along with the concept note of blended learning being released by UGC. So I think these are things which are known to all of you, and we are trying to look at the relevance of choice-based credit semester system, which is not totally new, but which we are trying to revisit in the backdrop of, as I said, the NEP, as well as the concept of blended learning. So let us look at what this concept actually is all about. Now, basically, we are trying to understand choice-based credit semester system in terms of these 4 factors, which are very relevant in the concept of blended learning. I'm sure all those who are online with me might have had some inputs on blended learning, some inputs on Academic Bank of Credit. Our previous session was also on that. And again, on some thoughts on how the NEP is going to take a stronger lead on the basis of what we are trying to talk about in terms of the changes which are happening. And one key change is the move towards an interdisciplinary approach. If you look at NEP document, or if you look at the blended learning concept, it says We all have a core area. We all have a thrust area. But beyond that, it's important that we make our learning holistic in terms of associating with disciplines. Say, for example, I come from the commerce and management background. Uh, we just cannot have a deeper learning into management or human resource management without knowing a bit of stress, which comes from the domain of psychology. And we all understand how important it is to know about languages, communicative languages, behavioral issues, how important it is to know about certain aspects of sociology. So every discipline might have linkages with allied, complementary, supplementary subjects, and we need to have that interdisciplinary connect. I cannot say that I am specialized only in this particular thing, and beyond that, I am nothing. So, interdisciplinary approach is one area where we are talking about making learning holistic, and choice based credit semester system is a system which is actually linked with that. Number two is in terms of flexibility. Again, if you look at the national education policy, as well as the concept of blended learning, it is saying that even a 3-year or a 4-year graduation program is flexible in nature, in the sense that after 1 year, you might get a certificate, after 2 years, you can get a diploma, and after 3 years, you can again accumulate your credit and make it a degree. And perhaps you can go for projects and make it even a 4-year multidisciplinary degree. So you have entry options. You can do something like learn for 1 year and work for some time. So there is flexibility. Conventionally, it was not like that. Suppose I had discontinued my education in 2000, and maybe I'll come back in 2008 or 5 or 6 after working for some time. Then my curriculum might have changed, the system of examination might have changed, the patterns might have changed. So it's very difficult to continue. So now the flexibility concept says, yes, whatever I did will be there in my bank, and the credits will be kept over there, and there is flexibility. Similarly, there's flexibility in taking my courses across the country, across institutions. So flexibility is one important thing. Liberal learning is yet another important thing. That means I might have a passion towards music, towards art, towards culture, towards certain things which might not have a direct anchor into my discipline. But I want to make myself more involved, more meaningful, more creative in my thought, for which I might take certain learnings which might not have direct association into my hardcore disciplines, but it might be associated with my like, with my taste, with my passion. So that is what we're talking about. I get linked with art, I get linked with music, I get linked with perhaps dance and things like that, along with my normal learning. And finally, the holistic approach, which says it is the human totality, the total transformation, which is important, rather than just saying that I know this A, B, C alone or X, Y, Z alone. So these 4 things are the key components which we need to look into, and how this operates under CBCSS, the choice-based credit semester system, is what we are trying to actually look at. Now, this is what I said, the interdisciplinary approach, learning beyond the core area, and we are trying to make it complete. As I said, HRM might require stress. My data analysis might require certain things in computer science or computer applications. I might have to get some inputs from statistics. So across, there are certain things which I believe which are important, and I can go and learn that. So you have certain things which are aligned, certain things which are complementary, certain things which are add-on. It is when I learn, maybe when I'm learning philosophy, that I understand that I need to sharpen my English language. So add-ons, all these things are possible when you actually do your program. Flexibility, learn with entry-exit options. I can enter. I did some courses, I left, and I'm coming back again after a few years. I do the remaining, or after a particular period, I have an option to exit and then again come back. Provision to complete in phases, learn for some time, work for some time, and again come back and complete. So that flexibility in your system is something which we actually need to look into. And also flexibility in moving, because today you say somebody who has done his 1 year in Delhi University wants to do the next year of his undergraduate program, maybe in Madras University. They'll say, what is the course that was there in the first year? How can you transfer? So very little of flexibility does exist. And liberal learning, making it enjoyable and creative in thought with free thinking. You're relieving yourselves from straight jacketing, that I am only to learn this and I'm only focused on this. So rather than that, I'm saying I want to be a total human being, for which I need to know maybe certain things which is spiritual, certain things which is philosophical, certain things which is related to art, certain things which is related to history. So I need to know all these things, and there are provisions for that. Thus, we can have music, art, culture, yoga, etc., to blend with disciplines. Holistic approach. You should ensure that your learning transforms in terms of new thinking and creativity. It's not just that I have some information with me or I have some knowledge with me. So it is new thinking, creativity, it is new knowledge, it is new skills, it is new competencies, it is new formation, personality, and social linkage. So enabling overall development in oneself and the society. So these key elements, this is what I would like to put across. These are in fact, the cornerstones through which we actually look at a choice-based credit semester system. So that is why we are saying it is choice-based. So there is provision for flexibility. There is provision for learning interdisciplinary. There is provision for learning things according to your passion and requirement, along with the basic specialized competencies that you are actually talking about. Now, this being given as the backdrop, let us understand why have we started talking about all these things. Because as I said, we have institutions in India which are very old, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years currently, which are functioning. And India has also got the tradition of having some of the best global universities, even in the 5th century, Nalanda, Takshashila, and all that. But then from there, suddenly, that at that point of time, we used to attract the best talent in the world into India. But suddenly down the line, we see that we are nowhere in the first 200 and all. So the issues of quality concerns came in. And most of this quality regulations which took place are not that old. So for example, if you say NAC is maybe 25, 26 or 28 years old. It's under 30 years old. You talk about NBA, even if you talk about UGC for that matter, UGC was only formed in the 50s. So what happened after independence? This is the complexity which happened in India. And it is that complexity which, in fact, compelled us to move in on these lines. What is that complexity? The huge growth in quantity. The huge growth in quantity with no reciprocal growth in quality. That is where we, as I said, 5th century, where we were the best. Suddenly we found that we have large numbers, but we are not coming up in quality. Yes, maybe IISCs, islands of excellence are there. So India today has got around 1,000 universities and 50,000 plus colleges. So this is the huge size. And its nature, administration, and management are all diverse. You have, suppose I talk about universities, you have central universities, you have state universities, you have foreign universities, you have private universities, you have deemed to be university, you have universities which are institutions of eminence, so many different types of universities. Same with colleges. You have government colleges, you have affiliating self-financing colleges, aided colleges, private colleges, foreign institutions, unneeded institutions, all kinds of diversity. And all of them are admitting students and they're all into education. So regulators and assessment agencies, they started thinking in terms of what could be the mechanism to ensure some kind of quality. And that is why we started looking at a new education policy, started looking at new systems where knowledge actually is creating some kind of a transformation. So I just wanted to convey why we are so much talking about this, because we cannot just think in terms of yes, we want to, the NEP says we need to have a GER, gross enrollment ratio of 50%, fine. But along with that, we need to also address the quality concerns. And one of the methods is looking at choice-based credit semester system with its obvious integrated challenges. Another multidisciplinary education, what NEP is talking about and how it gets associated with choice-based credit system. Multidisciplinary holistic education at the undergraduate level, which should have an integrated approach, which we already saw, to science, arts, humanities, mathematics, and professional fields. So it's not like saying that I am in art, so I don't have anything to do with mathematics, or I'm in humanities, so I need not know anything about sciences. So flexible curriculum and creative combinations. Why am I repeating this? Because I'm trying to bring the link between this and what we said in CBCS. So CBCS is also talking about this, and now the NEP, National Education Policy 2020, is also referring to the same thing. Now, NEP again talks about knowledge hubs, and higher education institutions should function as large multidisciplinary universities and college clusters. So they are saying the critical mass in a university should be huge. Why? Because if you want to make choice-based credit system, semester system, what do you call, effective, transformative, and strong, choices must be there. And how do you have choices? If you have a college with maybe 3 or 4 undergraduate programs and maybe 30, 40, or 50 courses, then where is the choice? I want to learn music, but my college does not offer music. I want to learn history, but we have only commerce. So that's why we are saying we need to have multidisciplinary universities. So all kinds of options are there. You have sciences, you have technology, you have sports, you have music, you have dance, you have arts, you have languages, you have foreign languages, you have theater learning, you have film learning, you have fashion tech, all kinds of options. So now in blended learning, you are saying it need not be necessarily institutional, it can be even across institutions. So large or it can be a cluster of colleges. So maybe in Delhi, you have in the North Campus or in the South Campus, there are 8 or 10 colleges which can act as a cluster and offer your choices for students within the cluster. So you have again research intensive universities, you have teaching intensive universities, and your degree granting colleges. Okay, I'm sorry, there's a small spelling mistake over there. Degree granting colleges. That means they are autonomous institutions. So these institutions have to look at where is their choice, where are they offering the choice, and how effectively they can actually go on that particular mode. Now, the next is how do you revamp phasing out a system of affiliated colleges in 50s. That's what NEP, I'm talking about NEP now. Replacing the same with a system of graded autonomy. So we are talking about NEP says if you want the system to grow, we need to at least look at graded autonomy and see how this can be brought up in the higher education system. Now, graduation that they're talking about, it says you have a certificate after 1 year. Again, you do the second year, you get a diploma. If you want to again continue with the third year, you get a bachelor's degree after 3 years. And you get a multidisciplinary bachelor degree after 4 years with exit options after each year. So keep this in mind. That means if I join for a 3-year BA program, after 1 year, if I want, I can exit and start learning or doing some job on my own. I have the certificate and my credits with me. So maybe after a few years, I'll come back and I'll take some more of the second year program and I get a diploma. And again, I can exit, and again, after some time, I can come back and I can do my bachelor's degree after completing that particular work assignment, and then I have my degree with me. So this is the flexibility that you're talking about. That's why I said this is again there it is there in NEP, and that flexibility is also talked about in choice-based credit semester system. Now, this being said, now let us see one of the challenges or one of the factors which makes it so imperative that we need to understand how to remain relevant or address disruptiveness. That is very, very important. Why we are looking at choice-based credit system? Why are we looking at quality concerns? Why are we looking at toolkits to address issues in higher education? Is basically because we want to remain relevant. And how do we remain relevant? We can remain relevant only when you address disruptiveness. Now, earlier we thought and talked about disruptiveness only in terms of technology. That means from 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, we moved into artificial intelligence. You use robotics, you use machine learning, you use augmented reality. So it was basically the digital and the technological phase which created disruptiveness. But today it's not just that, because we saw something like the COVID pandemic can also make certain things meaningless. So that is why we are now in this webinar mode. We are now in this online mode. So we have understood that to remain relevant, such things are necessary. So we might have to use technology. We might have to use the changes which are coming up. So we might have to think of every college might have to think of offering certain things beyond their campus for for students outside, for learners outside. So how to remain relevant? We have to find that out and remain relevant. Otherwise, technology will overtake us and make us obsolete. So what should be done over there? We need to conceive innovative teaching learning models, institutional as well as individual. What I mean by institutions should have their own systems of looking at teaching learning models. And at the same time, individuals also need to think of how to take best advantage of technology and be relevant. We need to be futuristic, because in anything and everything that we do, there is something which is theoretical, historical, and evolutionary, and there is something which uh, will make it relevant in the future. So your teaching model should talk about both. You must say how this is going to be important in future. So models like that alone will be something which will address disruptiveness. This is very relevant in certain disciplines. Like, say, for example, if you look at the disruptive index of different disciplines, you find that accounting over there stands first. Because in accounting, the industrial demand for this particular subject has changed in a huge way, in a big way. And I'm also, as was said in the introductory remark, I'm a chief editor of the Indian Accounting Association. So what we understand there is industry, the kind of accounting systems that they need, and the kind of teaching or learning that is happening in the educational institutions, there's a big gap. That means one is talking about the past measures, concepts alone, without looking at the change which has happened in the future and what the industry needs. So that makes the subject highly disruptive. But if you look at some subjects like perhaps dentistry, surgery, medicine, because they have to look at all tools of treatment, all research on vaccination, healthcare, diagnostics, which is latest and which is going to be futuristic, they are always remaining relevant. They can't afford to be saying that, okay, 10 years back we were doing it like this, so let us do it like that now. 20 years back a surgery was done like this, so let us do it let us learn that and keep silent on that. So they need to look at changes which are happening and immediately adapt to those changes. Again, we need to be tech supportive, which we are now understanding well. A deep comprehension of fundamentals is required, and relatedness to society and real life. Anything that we learn has got a why and a what. The what is talking about what is being addressed. The why is talking about why is it being taught. Why are we addressing this? Suppose in this particular webinar, if I'm saying that, what am I talking about? I'm talking about choice-based credit semester system. But why? Why? Because it is important in the changing context of higher education. Because it is important in the context of academic bank of credit. Because it is important in the context of blended learning based on these changes which are coming up. So I am relating it to the society. Same thing should happen in any discipline, any domain, in order to keep it relevant and in order to address disruptiveness. Because I must say why this learning is going to be important to the society, how this is going to be associated with the real life context. And finally, you have to look at analysis and application. So this is how you address actually disruptiveness which happens, and this is how actually we have to look at the learning system in totality, whether it is for a graduate program or a postgraduate program. And that is where your choice-based credit semester system becomes important. Now in CBCS, we address most of the things on the outcome-based education mode. And learning through that is made very joyful. Learning through that is made very meaningful because students are given information on outcomes from the learning. Or in very simple terms, they are made to understand why are they learning something, not just for a program. The program outcomes are there, course outcomes are there, and even module outcomes, or even why they are studying something in each moment or each day, they understand. So they are given information on outcomes from the learning. If you finish this module, you will be able to do this. If you finish this course, you will be ready for this. If you finish this program, this is where you're going to get observed. So what happens there? You have outcomes at the beginning. Even before the course starts, outcomes are there, and your course content, what we talk about in terms of the syllabi for that course, and the instruction that you are giving, your classroom lectures, your assignments, your seminars, and the assessment that you do, whether it is formative assessment, summative assessment, assessment through examination, practicals, or continuous assessment. All these three things, the content, the instruction, and the assessment, are all processes which will lead to the outcome. That means before you start, you know the outcomes from education. Then you direct your content, your instruction and assessment towards that outcome. And this is facilitated under a credit semester system through an inbuilt system where this can be made possible. I'll come to that a bit later. Now, content and outcome, I already said this. Content addresses what am I learning, whereas outcome addresses why am I learning. And the latter, that means why am I learning, makes the former, what am I learning, robust and meaningful. Because I know why am I learning. If I know why am I learning, then the content that I'm learning becomes meaningful. If I don't understand why am I learning, then it does not have any meaning, or it might have partial meaning, or it does not make what we would call in terms of full sense to the whole process. Now, what is CBCS? Now let us come to, now I'm coming to the concept. I just set the backdrop to talk about the flexibility it might give, to talk about the interdisciplinary approach which it might support, to talk about the value addition, the skill addition which is possible through it, and what it actually intends. Now let us try to understand this. Programs, CBCS actually talks about choice-based credit semester system, talks about programs with wide range of courses assigned with credits. So that is what we call credit semester system. So you have a semester system or a trimester system for each program, and that program has got a multitude of courses which are aligned there or assigned there with credits and with choices. You can choose. You can choose. One student might take a skill added program, another might take a value addition program, some might take environment related programs. Yes, with conditions that you must have this much core papers and all that. So what do you mean by a program? Program means it is the degree program that you have. BA History is a program. BA English Literature is another program. BCom with Accounting is a program. BCom with Computer Science is another program. BBA is a program. BSc Physics is a program. BSc Chemistry is a program. And same with your Masters. MBA is a program. MA History is a program. So this is program. What do you mean by courses? The number of papers or the number of courses that you have. Say, for example, in BCom, accounting will be a course. In BSc Computer Science, maybe programming is a course. So you have courses over there. So in a program, you have a number of courses which are having these dimensions. Some are core, some are elective, and electives have two forms, internal as well as external. Some are skill based, some are value based, which have some value, human value, and all have credits. How we'll come to the credit, I'll talk about that a bit later. So what do you mean by core courses? Core courses are discipline specific or which are related to your area of specialization. So if I'm in commerce, maybe I have accounting, I have costing, I have business statistics, I might have marketing. These are all core. It comes from that discipline. If I'm in history, I might have Indian history, whatnot, all the papers in history, all the papers in computer science. So core courses. Then I have electives, which are of two types. That means electives are from multiple electives are given in each semester, but it is related to the uh, area in the core. That means suppose in BCom I might say quantitative techniques or I might say operations research. So it is not core, it is an elective, but I'm not saying mandatory that you should take this, but you can take it one among the electives offered by the same discipline. That is what we call internal electives. External electives is where you go multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary. So it can be from any other department. It need not be related to the discipline. It can be supplementing the discipline, or it might even be based on what I said, liberal learning. I can do a course in music. I can do a course in theater art. So external electives. So external electives, they do not come from your department or the department in which you offer this particular program. It might come from another department. Then there are certain skill-based courses, maybe data entry, programming, behavioral skills, communication skills, emotional skills, human value-based programs like concern for nature, afforestation, village adoption, things like that. Human value-based courses can be there. And they all have credits. They all have credits. That means the course is assigned with a content, and based on the content, they are given credits. Now, how do you give credits? Credits are generally related to the content and assigned instructional hours per week. If you have a program running in a semester system, it might have, say, a master's program might have 4 semesters. So each semester might run up to, say, 4 or 5 months with maybe 16 to 20 weeks. So if you're saying 16 weeks, each week, how many hours are you allotting for that particular course? And that is what we're calling off in terms of credit. Suppose I'm saying I'm giving 4 hours in a week, then that particular course would have 4 credits. So I give the content, that means 4 hours in a week. And if I have, say, 16 weeks, of course, giving adequate provisions for examinations, extracurricular and all that. Suppose I say 16 weeks, one semester is 16 weeks, and 16 weeks will mean 16 into 4 hours. So I might get 64 hours. So I give a content which can be delivered, transacted and assessed over a period of 64 hours. So that is what we mean by 4 credit. Now, for this, you can also say the course can have 5 to 6 modules. Now, if you want to say that we don't have to transact something in this particular course for this long, 4 hours in a week, it is sufficient that you have 1 hour in a week or 2 hours in a week, and you can complete the whole thing maybe in 16 hours over 4 months, 16 weeks, 16 hours. Then you say that course is of 1 credit. And suppose you want to say 2 hours in a week, and again 16 weeks, so 32 hours I'll be able to cover. Accordingly, I give the content, and I'm saying it's a 2 credit course. So your courses can be of 2 credit, 1 credit, or 4 credits. Normally, the maximum that we assign for core courses would be around 4 credits. That means 4 credit course means 4 weeks per hour you're going to teach or transact, or in your instructional hours is going to be 4. So here you are fixing your credits, and these are the credits which subsequently gets deposited in the academic bank of credit that we are talking about. So this is what we mean by. So what we need to understand here is generally based on content. You can have in a week maybe a basket of electives. But if you're a huge institution with adequate staff and adequate good number of departments, you can offer many courses to students which are outside the department, like music, like art, like theater, like dressmaking, or like fashion technology, like communicative English, all kinds of things like environment protection, afforestation, waste management, all, and students can take whichever. And maybe it need not be very large. It can be something which can be transacted with maybe 2 hours in a week. So you say 2 credits, and they all get it done in that form. So this is the concept of credits, which are related to the content and which are related to the instructional hours in a week. Normally, we have 1 to 4 credits for courses and larger credits for projects. Projects can be maybe 6 because there are some programs in which the last semester, MS and MTech programs and all, in which perhaps the last semester is entirely devoted towards a project. So they're doing only one project with field work, industrial visit, lab experiments and all. So for such projects, you can give more credits because that is the entire time they're devoting for that project, which is research based. So this is the philosophy of credit, and this is the philosophy of how you look at courses. So understand this as a basic concept. But then I'll come to that a bit later. What are the challenges? The challenges, how do you offer all these choices? As I said, the diversity of institutions across the country today has created a revenue model in which many institutions perhaps have only 2 or 3 disciplines in the college, specifically self-financing colleges that might have 1 or 2 BA literature programs and 1 or 2 maybe BCom programs, because they find it easier to run it with lesser amount of investment in laboratory, lesser amount of investment in other infrastructure. So if you're running an institution perhaps with 1 or 2 BA programs and 1 or 2 BCom programs, then your choice can be only outside the institution. Because if students want to take music, if students want to take science, if students want to take a particular elective in health management, where do they go? They have to go outside. But then now, more specifically after the pandemic, and more specifically in the context of blended learning, you can even take these courses in the online mode through MOOCs. So this provision is becoming more valid, but currently CBCS is confined to institutions where you take, by and large institutions, I'm not saying everywhere, by and large in most of the colleges and universities, it's confined to the electives which are offered inside the institution. And yes, you can take additional credits through SWAYAM, which gets incorporated also. So this is essentially the concept of what we call looking at choices and looking at the credit semester system. Now, how do you ensure coverage? It should ensure interdisciplinary approach. That means when I'm saying core courses and electives, I should see that whatever are the complementary, supplementary add-ons which go go along with my course, that must be available in the form of a choice for the students. Say, for example, suppose I believe that I am very hardcore involved in human resource management, then as I said, there are some issues relating to sociology, relating to psychology, relating to stress, which perhaps the management department might not be highly competent to deal with. But at the same time, if I can offer electives, the students can go and learn that over there. So also, if there are certain courses in artificial intelligence or robotics, this perhaps could be a course which can be taken by students in different science programs or different even social science programs like economics and so on. So interdisciplinary approach, how do you ensure that? Are you offering this? If you're not offering it, is it offered in the cluster of colleges or is it offered in the MOOCs format? How can students take this? Second issue is flexibility. Do you offer some flexibility for this? Flexibility, we just saw how credits are given. So suppose I just want to, I'm not interested in a degree. I just want to study maybe a couple or a couple of courses or maybe 3 or 4 courses. What do I get? If you look at the conventional college format, I might not get anything. What we say papers. I have studied something in accounting, but I don't get a BCom degree. I don't get a certificate. I'm not getting any credit for that. But CBCSS says, suppose you take one course with 4 credits. When you finish that, you will say that in your academic bank of credit, you have been given these 4 credits for this one course that you have taken. If you have passed something, passed a course, maybe a 2 credit course in communicative English, that credit will go to your academic bank. So that stands over there. And these credits can be accumulated, and maybe I need not take a degree in 3 years. I might take 4, 5, 6 years or 7 years after entering and working for some time and so on and so forth. And ultimately, I can say that I can maybe when all my credits are accumulated, I can convert this or transform this into a diploma or even a degree. So this is flexibility. Liberal learning provisions also is there under CBCSS. Again, because I'm saying that there are courses in foreign languages. Because for us, we have a master's in international trade, where students from in international trade, foreign language is important. So we have our own foreign language departments where the students can go and learn. So also, if they would like to do something in yoga, something in music, something in human relations, something in human rights, something in constitution, maybe the law department or the political science department are offering somewhere. If they're out of their interest, they can go and do those courses. So liberal learning. Holistic approach, I said, the transformative form in which it actually works. So this talks about the content of CBCSS. Now, many universities, normally this is the ratio. They have 2/3 of their curriculum to be discipline specific or content specific, and they leave 1/3 of it to choices on the above basis. That means if I'm saying that I have my program, say 4 semesters in a master's program, I'm just taking an example of a master's program because I'm from a university and we don't have undergraduate programs, we have all master's program. So in a master's program, if there are 4 semesters and each semester has got say 5 courses, so we have 20 courses. In this 20 courses, roughly I'm not saying it's always exact. I'm just saying a suggested model. It'll be something like 2/3. That means maybe around 13 to 14 courses will be discipline specific and content specific on the thrust area, and the remaining 6 to 7 courses, 6 courses or 7 courses will be the elective form, interdisciplinary, liberal, holistic learning courses. And there are options. This will be the minimum, and there are options maybe that students can take even more than the minimum. They can, instead of saying that 20 courses is mandatory, for the 4 semesters, I'm taking 24 or 25 out of my interest or out of my passion. So that provision also does exist under the CBSS system that you have. Now, choices, institutions must give a wide range of choices. Otherwise, CBCSS becomes ineffective or inoperational, as it is in many cases now. As I said, because yes, after looking at blended learning, perhaps we can make choices open from other institutions in the open mode, online mode. But currently what is happening is most of the electives or most of the choices are from within the institution. And there are many learners who would like to learn something or which is of their passion, but that is not offered in the institution. So that problem is there. But now with Swayam and with the blended learning, massive open online courses, perhaps if it is not there in the institution, the system says that you can even take it from outside and get the credits back to your institution. So offering wide range of choices is something very, very important. And there, even with the department, you can give electives. So within suppose you are a BCom program or a BA program or an MBA program, even there you can give some electives. Says that certain things are compulsory and certain things you can choose from a basket of electives. So your electives can be from related departments. It can be value-based learning, human values, social issues, environment, culture, removal of poverty, hunger, It could be skill basis, and there are now, many of you would be knowing, the government of India is already looking into industry linked, industry embedded courses. That means it's basically meant for the retailing sector or the logistics sector or the service sector or the banking sector or the MSME sector. The courses are designed in tune with the requirements of the industry, and some of those skill-based courses can be made add-ons with electives. So skill-based courses. And finally, the massive open online courses from Swayam or from other platforms. So that is where now we are talking about. Just a month back, UGC brought their concept note on blended learning, where you're saying how this can actually work and happen. So these are some of the basic structure of choice based. So what from this, one thing is what do you call turning out to be, or something that turns out to be very relevant is in fact the word what do you call the integral composition of choice based credit semester system. One is it should be choice based, and it should be on the basis of credit, and it should offer adequate coverage, and it should ensure transdisciplinarity, flexibility, access to make your learning complete, so that you through your learning processes you move up vertically on a progressive mode. So that's what is said here. Now what I'm trying to give you is a model, a suggested model or a suggestive model. So this is one which we are actually following. We have courses which are core courses for our master's program and electives. All the skill-based, human value-based and complementary will come here, and the core is what comes here. Now, what we have said is, for a master's program under CBCS, at least 48 credits must come from the core courses. We have only said 48 credits. Now, if all courses are of 4 credits, then this will mean that your master's program will have 12 courses, which are core. If all are of 4, if all are of a different number, then accordingly, if you're saying all are of a 2, then you'll have 24 courses. So it depends upon the content and how much you want to cover. Generally, electives are of 2 credits, and then your core can be 2, 3, or 4, based on whether it has lab experiments and so on. So 48 is the credits for the core, which comes from your department or your domain, and 12 is the minimum that you should take from electives. Now look at this, 48 plus 12 is only 60, which means that the minimum credits that you should take, the minimum given here is 72. So what does that mean? If you take the minimum number of core courses, then you have to take the maximum number of elective courses, because 48 plus 24 will become 72. Or you can do one thing, you can enhance the minimum number of core courses to a higher number. Maybe you can take 50 or 60 core courses. Then you can reduce the electives. I hope I have made myself clear. You can have 48 credits from the core area, but if you take 48 credits from the core area, you don't meet the minimum criterion of 72 with 12. That means if you take 48 here, you must take 24 here, and that will give you a minimum. Or instead of taking 48, you can increase this to 50 or 60. You can go up to 60 in the core and take 12 electives and make it 72. So minimum you must gather 72. This is just a suggestive model. You can have all different kinds of models. And when I'm saying minimum 72, it's not necessary that everybody should. Minimum that is required to get your grades and move is 72 to get that particular degree. But you can have students who take 74, 76, 78, 80. They can take based on their interest and passion. Maximum that is given is 84. So this is how just a model for a master's program. If it is for a UG program, because they have 3 years, 6 semesters, credits will be larger. So when you make a comparison there, you will see 48 plus 24 is 72. So 2/3 is core and 1/3 is elective. So when I'm going by the 48-24 model, I'm taking the minimum in core, and the maximum in elective, then in that case, 67% of your content is from the core. Now, if I'm taking 64 from the core and I'm going by 20 electives, then in that case, 76% of the content is from the core. So, what I'm trying to say here is, I'm trying to simply state the fact that when you have a CBCSS method, as of now, most of the universities and colleges have something like 66% plus 66, 68 or 70% standing in the core and 30% being in the electives. So where they can make all their choices. So this is what actually stands. Now, how do they make the choices and what are the challenges in making choice? We will have to see later. Now, the blended learning, those who have gone through the blended learning concept note of uh, the UGC, it says that 40% of your courses can be in MOOCs. And in that 40% also, one component of the courses can be from the personal choice or like of the learner. Now, I'm not referring to purely CBCS. I'm talking about the blended learning mode. So 40% there can be from a massive open online course model. And they can take it from anywhere. Your Delhi University students can come and do it in Chennai or in Kerala, or they can go to Mumbai. You can just say that these are suppose it's a BCom program. In each semester, there are 5 papers. 2 papers they can choose. 2 papers out of 5 will make it 40%. So 2 papers they'll choose in the open mode. And of the 2, one they can choose. I'm just giving some of the models which are just suggested there. Don't think that this is final. This is just a suggestive mode. One course they can do totally based on their liberal thought, free choice. So that is a blended form. So again, this is actually the concept. This is what the concept talks about when we are looking at choice-based credit semester system. Now, what are the challenges? Now, we need to understand. I think many of you would be teachers or perhaps people who are looking at the higher education sector. Number one challenge is where the choice are available. Is it internal or external? Now, that's what I said. Blended learning says they can choose from a MOOC format from any institution across, need not be from your institution. But conventionally, when CBCSS was envisioned, it was like they can choose from other departments within the institution. Because in our University of Kerala, we started off with this in 1995. And from 95, it is like we are saying that we have 43, because by and large, it's a large university, but we have 43 departments, including foreign language, liberal arts, music, fine arts, as well as science, technology, and all that. So it was something where choices could be offered. But then I'm coming to some other challenges which are still there. But think of colleges, think of institutions with lesser number of departments and faculty and options, then where the choices are going to be made available is a concern, but that is being now addressed through the online technology or digital platforms which are available. Administration is another issue. Like these students will be doing these courses outside, but then when they're as far as their assessment is concerned, yes, they'll have teachers from wherever they're doing, but then their examination contact, the grade, giving them the grade, recording their credits, looking into the credit transfer, this is all to be done by the host department. Suppose they are from commerce, it is a commerce department which has to do all these things, not only for their courses, but the courses which these people have done outside. So, and then now when you're saying a very free form of doing courses, the students might come up with doing different kinds of SWAYAM courses. And specifically when the lockdown was on, we saw that because they had a lot of time, a lot of people did many online courses. Now they might ask for integrating all these credits into their system. So administrative work on that will be relatively large. Then comes the issue of timing and spacing the timetable. This is a key concern because each institution has got its own timetable. and the day starts maybe at 9 o'clock in the morning and it goes up to 4 o'clock, and you have the timetable saying this is hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, hour 4, 5, 6, and so on. And every day is like that. So suppose you are saying that the students are taking a certain number of courses from outside, they need to be left free at the time when those courses are hit. Now, if the electives that they choose and the choice that they have taken is very large, perhaps there will be overlapping in the timetable. When you are taking some class, the students have to go for some elective somewhere else. Or some students from some other department wants to take some elective in your department and they'll come at one time. So how do you space the timetable? How do you actually schedule your programs is another concern. Now, what we do is we allow one day entirely to be devoted for electives from what we call it generic courses. So they go for the basket of electives option on a Wednesday. So Wednesdays, the home department is keeping its side, setting aside for students from other departments to come to the host department and students from the host department to go to other departments. But this also might not always work, because some of the sessions, it might not be happening on that particular day or on that day itself, and when a person has chosen two electives and the time is not collating with that. So this is yet another challenge. The next challenge will be how to use student life cycle management system with digital support, because all these students are talking about large number of electives, choices, options, entry times, exit times, anytime learning, anywhere learning, and all. So we need to have a digital kind of monitoring system right from the student's entry till final certification. And now it is not only final certification, but even after that, if you talk about ABC as well as NAD. NAD stands for National Academic Depository, where after they pass, they get the certificate. The certificate is digitized and put into a depository. So it has to have that, what we call the digital integration. We need to address digital divide. That's a big concern. Because when you say that students can go for MOOCs across the country, these courses must be accessible to them from wherever they are. So we have villages in India which do not have power even now, leave alone telecom connectivity. So they might say that, okay, now in my home I don't get internet facilities, or maybe because I am with poverty, I don't have a smartphone or a laptop. So that issue is something which is even now there in India. So also societal divide is a big problem. How do you deal with the underprivileged? See, we started, I don't know whether you have observed that, we started thinking about online mode of learning from on a massive form. Earlier also it was there, but we started looking at it in a massive form after the COVID pandemic set. But the guidelines, the statement on operating procedures for online learning for the differently able was just released a few weeks, or I think maybe 1 month back. That means nobody thought about how this is going to be received by those who are blind, those who are deaf, those who cannot hear. So when you're doing it in an online form, what is their system? And now we have come up with certain guidelines on community radio, sign languages, and all that. So those issues will also be there when we are talking about there's also issues of poverty, inability to access. Those kind of issues might also come up in terms of the choices and in terms of assessing the options which these students might perhaps have. Now, credit transfer and equivalence is yet another issue, because this system says there must be some provision for credit transfer. What do you mean by credit transfer? I did my 3 of my courses maybe in Delhi University, and I have gained credits over there. I'm doing rest of my 10 courses in University of Kerala. Now I want to transfer the credits from Delhi University, get it incorporated into University of Kerala, and I'm not going to do those courses again here. So provision for that must be there. Credit transfer. Again, we talk about equivalence. Even now we keep talking about that. That somebody did this 3 courses in some other university, and when you want to transfer it into the host university, they look at whether the content is same or can it be equated, because we teach these modules which are not taught over there. So how can you say that that credit is equivalent to our credit? So those issues have to be actually addressed. Now, addressing these issues of, because if you want the same flexibility to happen or you want the same access to happen, these issues need to be addressed, because I might enter in one university and exit from some other university. I might take some credits somewhere and I come out with those credits and bring it into another place. So credit transfer. So it is for this that we are talking about 2 concepts. And I think I'm not talking much about ABC because I understand you have had a couple of sessions on academic bank of credit, which is talked about in the NEP. Academic bank of credit is just like any other bank. You deposit all your credits, and when you believe that the credits are sufficient to be accumulated, you can use the credits per se only for that purpose, because I don't want a degree. If I don't want a degree or a diploma, I just want to say that I've done a bit of learning on something, fine, I can just be happy with the credits. Or I can go on accumulating my credit and get that converted into a degree or a certificate when it meets its requirement. When I get 12 credits or 14 credits and that credits earned is equivalent to a certificate, I get a certificate awarded. Or when I go on accumulating this and I get all the credits necessary for a degree, then I'm going and telling the university that all your credits which are necessary for a degree, I have earned. So now give me a degree. So this is academic bank of credit. You're depositing all the credits you earned from the course and the electives, and you are telling the concerned university that all the credits that need to be earned for that particular degree or that particular diploma has been earned, and your conditions on minimum credit, maximum credit has been earned. So now give me a degree. This is the concept of academic bank of credit. Now here choices are exercised from other institutions also. Now how do we equate how do you look at the concept of NAD? NAD is a National Academic Depository. What is that? It's a depository. And all of you know depository is a virtual space into which something is deposited. It's a storehouse. But it's not a physical storehouse. It's a digital storehouse or a virtual storehouse. So National Academic Depository is a depository of the degrees earned by students, the degrees awarded to students, which are posted there in a digital form. So this is something which is going to happen, and some steps have been taken on that line already. So whenever students have their degrees earned, it will be digitized, and with their register numbers and with their credentials, it will be put in a depository. Just like you're trading in shares and securities, you have depositories there. So all your shares, stocks, and all are going into the depository. The credits earned and the total degree that is earned, the digital certificate will be posted over there. So when I'm applying for a job, or when I apply for higher learning, maybe for a master's or a PhD program in some other university, I go from Kerala to Mumbai. I need just mention that I have passed in this year with this program, with this much credit and this much marks. I don't show any certificate. I give them the credentials and I say that you look into the depository, you will see my certificate. So they log in. The university must give them the credentials to log in and look at the academic depository. And from that depository, they can get my credentials. This is the concept of academic depository. So the electives and the choices which I have taken there, it gets recorded there. Academic bank of credit should be uniformly accepted by all institutions, because if I'm saying some credits have been earned by me and these credits have been transferred to this host institution, and I tell that to some university in Delhi or UP or wherever, and they are saying that we don't recognize that. So that problem might like there must be a general understanding among all institutions that okay, this is how the degrees actually credits have been earned, and they have been what do you call standardized and benchmarked, and then you can carry it forward, accepted by all institutions. A digital depository for all credits earned should become a common norm across the country. So if that becomes a common norm, then I need not carry this certificates and those, and I can have lots and my own space for earning lots of credits, which can get transformed into different awards, and then that those degrees awarded will be posted into the uh, depository, which is formed for this particular purpose. Now, again, addressing challenges. One of the challenges, sorry. Hello? Hello? Good evening. Yeah, tell me, sir. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. When was it sent? Yeah, yeah. What do you want? I'll get back to you. Then currently, I'm in an online program. Will it be okay if I? I'll get back to you. Okay. Yeah. You want? Okay. I'll get back to you. I'll get back. To you. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption. So another important challenge is we need to move on this in a phased manner. And why I said phased manner, I'm trying to relate this to with what I started off with. Currently, when we talk about choice-based credit semester system, it talks about the choices, but we have a multiplicity of diverse institutions, which because of its diversity and nature of functioning, it does not generally provide adequate provision for the choices for the learners within the institution. So, institutional wise choices might not be available. Clusters of colleges might not be operational. In that case, they have to go for online programs. In online programs, some maybe virtual laboratories might not be available. So, we need to move into this in a phased manner, because we cannot say that okay, 21 onwards, 22 onwards, everything is going to go there. Like we have to see how the gap between different types of institutions get bridged. We have to see how the infrastructure and the digital technology based divide can be bridged. So it takes some time for that. We need to ensure preparedness, like how prepared the nation is, how prepared the state is, how prepared our learning system is. So when we are not prepared in that form, there would be certain things, but perhaps which might be just carried out for the sake of it, just for namesake. So that has to be again looked into. Again, getting infrastructure technology enabled institutions across, that is going to become, that has happened reasonably well in 1 year, and not because what we call we wanted it to happen very fast, but because the COVID pandemic made us think in terms of that. That's why this virtual webinar is actually held, because otherwise perhaps I remember how frequently we used to come to Delhi for different programs. So now hardly we are traveling, but we are getting things done on a different form. Same thing might happen by using AI in the learning processes, using virtual reality, using virtual laboratories. But then the infrastructure for that, your video conferencing facility, your language labs, your studios for recording, all these facilities perhaps might be required, which is a challenge if you want to, if you also want to make yourself prepared with the wide choice that is actually necessary. Now, blended learning and technology enabled learning, I already mentioned, so I don't want to repeat that. Blended learning, it is offering wide choices again, because Earlier, we were saying choices under CBCSS within the institution. Now we are saying across the country. So my students can choose a particular course if it is of their choice from maybe any other part of the any other institution. It can even be IISCs or IITs or centers of excellence. They can go and do it from there. And because it's by and large, they're talking about making it available on the open online platform. But challenges still remain, which we already discussed. So we need to ensure holistic learning, and for which perhaps CBCSS is a path. But even when we see it as a path, let us not take it as something which is the only way to reach there. It has got its own it has got its own advantages. It has got its own supportive forms in its learning process, but at the same time, it has got some issues in terms of, as I said, how you will space the learning system, how you will schedule the learning system, and how you will enrich the process. But just because there are some these are the limitations which we're talking about, or the challenges which we actually talked about, are things which we can overcome when we are looking at the process through which the system actually operates. So I'm just stopping with the presentation mode over here. Now I'll just put certain things more which I would like to share. One or two things under CSS which I would like to actually talk about is how much of uh, transformation actually takes place, because we are moving from what we call a data age to an information age, and from an information age to a knowledge age. So we cannot just be happy with being providers of information. So the CBCS, with its autonomy, with its elective mode, and with its assessment mode. I mean, assessment mode in the sense that each course has got one segment which is directed towards uh, the end semester examinations, and one which is a continuous assessment. So in the continuous assessment mode, there is again lots and lots of scope for innovative methods of teaching. How you give your assignments, how you make your seminars, how you uh, take them to the field, how you make a lab to field experiment realistic, how you make social linkages possible, so how you give innovative projects, how you take case studies, how you take quizzes. So those provisions also exist, which is again a benefit which you can all take advantage of. So that is one thing which is important. And CBCSS, another concern, it requires good kind of at least a reasonably good IT integration, because students, they do their online submission of applications. That's why I suggested life cycle system. And then you are monitoring their progress, the grades, the credits that they get. So there's a lot of paperwork and allied functions which must actually get integrated with what they actually do in terms of uh, their credentials in the institution. So once they join, they have a number tagged to their to that particular person, and that stands as something to which all that they have earned in the degree, earned in a particular institution, from credits to degrees, awards, and the digitization form, it gets linked. So thank you for this opportunity. Now I'm sure, I don't know whether what is your system, whether you have something to share or ask, you can use that. I don't know how much time you have for that.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for the very valuable
Yeah.
discussion.
So anybody who would like to, do they have is it through chat, or can they
Yes,
raise?
yes, sir, we've received a couple of questions on our YouTube chat. So
Yeah,
may I start reading them?
yeah, sure.
So the first question that we've received is, most universities have already revised their syllabus for academic year 2021-22.
Yeah,
APC has given more importance to experiential learning, and each course is designed for a specific program.
Yeah.
My concern is whether each individual course affected by university or institution will meet requirement of ABC scheme where syllabus for a course is not a standalone course. They're complementary to each other. Can you please throw some light on this?
Okay, good. Thanks for the question. Now, what you said is true. For 2020, 21, 22, many of the institutions have started looking into their curriculum. And I think the question points out onto outcome-based curriculum that has been designed. See, we are, when you talk about outcome-based education, it is not just the course. Course outcomes will be definitely meant for that particular course. And that has got something to do with the program-specific outcomes. Say, for example, suppose that I'm talking about MBA. MBA has got certain things which are designed to meet certain outcomes. But if you look at that, those outcomes, uh, if it is to achieve its objective in totality, it must have certain elements in that particular program which does not essentially come from within that particular. That is something which we design when we conceive itself. It's designed in that form. That means it doesn't come from a course that is integral to what is offered in that. Yes, the curriculum is revised in that form. It is fine. But I see that this is something which the outcome from this has to come from some other discipline or some other department or some other sector. But I'm setting that program specific outcome from my MBA program. But I'm not, at the same time, I'm not visualizing that it will come from a course in my program offered from within the department. I hope I'm making myself clear. What I'm trying to say here is, I'll just give one example. I just mentioned about one program in international trade, where I'm saying that there is something where the students should have command over a foreign language. But in the management department, we don't have foreign language. But I have set an outcome in that in the program specific outcome. What I intend here is through one of the electives, I'm saying one of the electives, you should get this through an outcome from a course which is not done within our department, but it may be done outside. So this is where we are saying electives with some guidelines. So that is where one aspect of credit semester system does exist. Another aspect is there could be something which is saying that this program specific outcome is supporting in the career path. But the same department does not offer a course relating to career planning or career development. So what we are trying to look at is you should get this from some other department or some other sector or some other area and integrate it here. This is the philosophy of choice-based credit semester system. Same thing can happen on behavioral skills. We might not have our own expertise, but we are saying for this particular program, they need to get an outcome on that. So the answer to your thing is that we are not trying to look at what each course should get and see it is related only to that program. We are first looking at what you want a program to achieve in order to meet its condition in full. Maybe BA literature or maybe BA history. What does this program need to meet as far as the learner is concerned? And in that objective, we are saying it is not just meeting certain things from history alone. It has to have certain things which are behavioral, which are passion oriented, which are career oriented, which are interrelated. So, but then that might not be there in any courses that we offer from within the department. Then that is where we give them space or room to move out. So, it is the duty, these course outcomes of other courses of other departments which are given as add-ons or electives will be spelled out somewhere. So the students can say that, okay, for language, I'll go to this place. For career path, I'll go for this. For this skill, I'll take from there. And these outcomes match or map with my program specific outcomes. So I think what I'm trying to again specifically reiterate here is the fact that the course outcomes and program specific outcomes from each program does not mean that all course outcomes alone from one particular from all courses or which are discipline specific alone is aligned with the program specific outcomes. If you have designed in that form, then there is no room for choice based credit semester system, because you have said all the outcomes from a particular program should come from courses from within the department. But you must give some room for saying that there are certain outcomes which we want. That's why we are saying even graduate attributes. Above program specific outcomes, there's something called graduate attribute. That is saying what a graduate should, suppose you are saying graduate attributes for a college or graduate attributes for a university. You look at all the graduate attribute statements which are put on the websites. You will see something. It puts things which are generic. Say, for example, comprehension skills, communicative. So that is there. It might be there for a graduate who is passing out with BSc botany. Then you might think, how can we say communication skill in botany? Because in botany department, we don't offer a course in communication skill. That is where you're leaving room for the students to take up an elective in that from some other department. It might be from a language department, or we might also We might also be talking about art. We might also be talking about culture, values, and things like that, which they might take from an English department or history department. Might be saying that environmental consciousness or afforestation, what do you call, linking with what do you call, human needs. So where does it come? It might not come from, it might be coming from somewhere else. But then what we have to look into is, if it is spelled out, your program specific outcomes for whatever program you're doing must spell out these things and say that many of these outcomes will come from our core courses. Some of these outcomes will not come from our core courses. It will be related to other courses, and you must have a blend of this, which will lead you to that. I think I've shed some light on that.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
we have another question which says too much flexibility may increase carelessness in studies. So how can we provide quality education, as in India, most of the students are not learning centric?
Okay, good. That is a very good. This is a question which is raised in many institutions, and we also have our concerns on that, because when we say flexibility, there are lots of problems which come up. I just say one example. Like, when we talked about entry exit options and all, uh, as you all know, normally at least once in 2 years, 3 years, your curriculum is revised. So somebody who studied in 1 year, did something, then went off. They come up with flexibility. They want to enter at some other time, or they did something somewhere else and they want to get those credits transferred over here. Then, if you're if there is no system to standardize and benchmark or match, that's what I put as a challenge over there. Then anybody who gets different things, we had that problem here also, where students found to some of the courses which they find it very difficult to take. They see whether it is available in any other part of the country on a very liberalized or a slightly diluted conditions, and they'll acquire it there and try to bring it back over here. So those concerns are there. Now, how do you address this? If there too much of flexibility and too much of liberty or too much of freedom, will it dilute the system? Now, what is the answer to that? The only answer to that is we need to be having what do you call, a concerted stand on this. That means every university, when we say ABC, or when you say NAD, or when you say liberal learning and all, that can happen only when institutions across the country have common benchmarks, common standards, common quality parameters which gets accepted. If that is not possible, this will happen. So we have to, as I said, that's why I said phased manner. We have to have some kind of a system where such standardized progress is there. Otherwise, it's difficult, because people will across move. There will also be a possibility that you will have complete control only on certain things, and rest will go out of your control. You are just forced to do certain things. That might happen. So the question is very apt. The apprehension is, what do you call, very much founded. But the answer to this is, if you want all the institutions must follow this common guidelines, common systems, common standard operating practices, or perhaps the regulators must create certain norms. Otherwise, what are the kind of credits that are going to come? How are they going to bring it? And how are you going to integrate? Will be an issue. Okay.
So there's one more question. It states, sir, in case of affiliating colleges, implementing such flexibility in courses seem difficult as they have limited freedom in designing curriculum.
Yeah.
So how should
affiliating colleges, they will not be in a position to follow choice-based credit semester system at all, unless it is done by the affiliating university. Only they can do it because they'll be forced. But then I think I showed you the NEP document which says I'm just talking about what the policy says. It says we should move from affiliating system to autonomous system, graded autonomy. Because as long as affiliating is there, as you said, it is right. The colleges cannot do anything. For example, in Kerala, the choice-based credit semester system, we have two kinds of systems. One is for the affiliated colleges, another for the university departments. Even for the affiliated colleges, it is dictated by the or what we call it is implemented through the university. And for colleges also, it's implemented through the university. For departments, it is done with again with more involvement from the departments. Another one, it is done through the BOS. So as long as it is affiliating, there is no way in which you can do it because the university has to give a common certificate for all colleges, a common kind of credit. So it will be like that. So that there is no way out. So CBCSS will be under the university as long as you are affiliated.
Thank you, sir. So we have some few more questions. It
Yeah,
states, sir, as you said, the challenges still remain for the underprivileged students, like specially able
definitely,
ones, and
definitely.
those from backward regions. What measures can help these students in near future and in ABC?
Okay. One thing is addressing the divide, which is in many cases happening. We have all kinds of divide, not only the infrastructure, digital, social, income, urban rural divide, all these divides. How do you address it? By uh, bringing just like what we actually talk about in terms of slow learners and advanced learners. So there are slow learners. You offer some bridge courses, remedial coaching to bring them up at least closer to the advanced learners, or at least to narrow down the gap. So when you give this infrastructure support, when you give them access to smartphones, laptops, the digital systems, much of the divide can be addressed. So it is not we cannot just say that urban rural gap can be reduced by bringing everybody from the rural area into the urban area. But on the contrary, what we actually talk about is making the same kind of services available in the rural area. So on which we are doing many things now. In our state also, we have done many things in terms of enhancing digital access, in terms of those who are having the revenue issues, how to support the students with scholarships, free ships. So these are all uh, addressing the divide. As far as the less privileged concerned, as far as differently abled and all are concerned, that's all. Only thing that I was sharing the concern that it is coming very late, in the sense that we talked about when the online classes started. We talked about different kinds of operating procedures, guidelines, COVID guidelines, teaching guidelines, concept notes, right from March 2020. But it took 1 year to just look for the regulators to decide what is happening with the blind, what is happening with the deaf. So but then they have come up with some kind, so that is good. That way it can be appreciated. Like how do you look at it? They said, okay, the blind, we can have community radios, we can have touch screen computer programs for, so those are the kind of things. And for the deaf, they cannot hear what is coming, but then they can see the screen. So how they can look at letters and integrate, so those things are coming up. But then what I was trying to project is, if it was face to face, it could be something like you can use sign language, you can use personal support, you can use mentoring. So the kind of mentoring that you offer, the kind of personal attention and personal intervention that you have, that has to take a new mode. So we need to have formulated SOPs for that, some of which are now coming up, but then it has to be addressed. Now this pandemic came as what you call a sudden uh, a sudden sea change which happened, because we never thought it will happen, and but it forced us to think on ways and means to which it can happen. I still feel that as far as most of the interventions on the digital platform is concerned, there is a left out segment. So that left out segment, whom perhaps we can call as the last, lost, and the least. We cannot say that, okay, that's your problem, so you have to deal with it. We have to see how they also get integrated if you need to address something like sustainable goals. So we are taking some steps in that, but then we have to be a bit more fast to bridge the divide and to see that some of the talent of this less privileged group cannot go unattended. We should have ways and means to decide. This is institution wise, each institution need to look at this mechanism, these interventions, and each teacher or each what do you call instructor has to decide how, if at all there are somebody in my domain who belong to this, how do I address it and how do I reach out to them? How do I ensure access for them? How do I ensure inclusiveness for them? So those are the concerns which institution wise, individual wise, if it is taken, along with regulatory SOPs, that will by and large, or to some extent, it will address it, definitely.
Very rightly said, sir. We do need to streamline things at a very fast pace now.
Correct, exactly.
So there's another question. According to you, how much time we should give to meet the challenges, since there's going to be certain teething problems? What's your opinion on this?
Definitely, there will be a. We can't talk about what do you call a specific time frame, but if you want to move with this, because as I said, the complexity is very high. Complexity of institutions is very high. Diversity is very high in the country. State by state, if you look, you will see diversity to be very high. So 1,000 universities and 50,000 colleges, and many of these colleges which are not what do you call either accredited or go by many of the standards are very huge. Even if you look at NAC, it is maybe 20-30%, but 70% is left out. If you look at universities, if you talk about any kind of regulatory framework, there are many institutions which do not follow or which do not fall under any of these things. So they cannot directly move into this. So it will take time. And moreover, there have been shifts which have taken place in higher education, because 90s, if you look at 1990s, what was universities at that time, it has changed significantly. Say, for instance, we had multidisciplinary universities at one time, which was what do you call which diversified into, that is happening across India, diversified into technology universities for engineering college, health science university for medical college, agriculture university for agriculture, uh, 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 all that kinds of university. We had language-based universities, Sanskrit universities, digital universities, open universities. So one which was something which was one went into different kinds of universities. So then the conventional universities did not have many of the professional degrees under them. Agriculture went out of it. Law courses went into the law university. Engineering courses went into the technology university. Medicine went into the health science university. So it was left with that. But now again, we are again talking about multidisciplinary and bringing disciplines to converge. So shift is moving into a holistic pattern now again. So here, when that integration has to take place, because how that integration can take place is, even in health science, we are talking about integration. Health science, like health science was Ayurveda university separate and your homeo university separate. But now we are talking about a holistic integration. So we cannot talk about an exact time frame within which it can happen, but it should, if that policy has to be achieved, you have to set a deadline and work on a path phased manner over a period of time. You have to move into that and you have to get it, but we cannot get it in one stretch. But there will be, it will take time. It will take time. It will take time for moving into the entire path. So at least I think the 3 to 5 years is something where we have to see a time span within which, if you are very purposively, objectively moving into that, we can see that the platform is set, the stage is set for moving into that.
So true, sir. We have to move in a phased manner and then see
Please.
what brings out the best for us.
Okay.
So there's a question.
Yeah.
You spoke about addressing the divide. Besides the vital things you mentioned, will testing agencies as NAC also change its guidelines for accreditation?
Definitely, yeah. The agencies definitely, they keep changing their guidelines, and they keep, because they look at things which are valid at one point of time. They understand that there are certain gaps in this, and then they try to say, let us modify this, and then again some loopholes are taken over there. Then they keep revising. But by and large, they don't always look into the outcome from the process. They also look into the process, because accreditation and ranking are two different things. If you're saying ranking institution, Ranking institution is just saying what is your position. You are 10th or 100th or 112th or 115th. Accreditation says if you meet these standards, you are A or A plus or whatever. So in accreditation, what I feel is they are revising in such a way to ensure that beyond outcomes, they also look at processes. It's like suppose I don't look at just what grade my student gets. I'm also looking at the teaching, learning, supportive processes which are leading to that grade. So when they are talking about curriculum, the 7 criteria, one is curriculum, or when they're talking about teaching, learning processes, or when you're talking about student support, or when they're talking about research, or when they're talking about publications, in all this, it is a two-way kind of look at it. For some, in one point of time, in most of the ranking, it is like what is the outcome? How much patents you got? What is the total rating of publications that you got? What is the progressive movement of your students into placement, or what are the grades that they achieved in their results, or how many students went into the industry with what salary? So this is all outcome based, which is more into the ranking philosophy. But then, if I'm looking only at this, I'm not looking at the process. I must also look at what are the processes and practices that actually led to this. And that is when you're looking into that, you find out that your assessment mode and your practices have to be revisited. And that is why this revision takes place, because they find that some of the metrics with some of the weights that they gave perhaps is certain things which needs to be revised, and they have got a large pool or a large what do you call a talent of assessors who give their feedback that in this institution this is happening because of this. That is how opt-out metrics came, and so on and so forth. That does happen. So they find that based on, because you cannot just, what they're trying to do is using one set of guidelines and metrics for a diverse institution. So the diversity is creating a problem. They have to revise that. But they're doing that over a period of time. They are seeing how to make it most congenial and adaptive to the different kinds of institutions.
Right, sir. We can say change is the only constant, and as the policy is changing, even these accreditation are also
Definitely, it will have to change here.
right. So we've received a couple of questions which are revolving around the fact that how are we going to transfer credit from one university to another, or shouldn't program outcomes across the institutions be similar? Example: student graduating BSc botany from one state be similar to another state.
Exactly. So this is what I said. If you look at the slide that I've presented, I said credit transfer and equivalency. Now, this as long as you do not have a same standard, because again, suppose look at a course in a particular program, maybe in a BSc program or a BCom program. One course is, say, let us say it is in quantitative techniques. So this quantitative techniques has got 4 credits. In our university, this is taken up in semester 3. Now, a student comes from another state. He has passed quantitative techniques. He has got 4 credits. So that is in that university where he passed this particular course. Maybe it is in semester 1. So he finished semester 1, and he's saying that I have finished semester 1. I have finished quantitative techniques. And what is there in our semester 1 is not there in their semester 1. And what he is saying he has finished is again he is going to repeat in semester 2. So such issues are there. That is what that's what, even when we say academic bank of credit, that's why how are we going to move into it? How are we going to standardize it? It is a problem. Currently, wherever we are saying credit transfer, it is based on equivalency. So we are looking at universities are looking at equivalency. What is that they are saying that they have passed from another university? Do we have a similar course here in the same semester with, at least we are not saying 100%, at least 70% of the content matching? If it is matching, yes, we give. So otherwise we are not giving. But ABC says it's not like that. There should be flexibility, and there should be a provision for transfer. But if that has to be made, as I said, there must be uniformity, there must be benchmarks and common standards across the country. As of now, it is not happening because this ABC I just put as a philosophy which NEP is talking about, but it cannot happen without this kind of a integration that is taking place. So that means we should have a more or less some kind of a uniformity, some kind of a standardized practice. Otherwise, it's difficult to bring this. But then, unnecessarily, we should not just talk about equivalency, recognition, and bring in what you call formalities and thereby deny transfer. So if it is something which they say that yes, they have passed, say for example, quantitative techniques, when I said their first semester has that, our first semester also has that, he has finished that course, he or she has finished that course. So why should you ask them to repeat? So give the credit. So if outcomes match, if conditions match, we can give. When they do not match, how can we give? We have to see guidelines on how they can be made acceptable between institutions, adaptable, worth incorporating between institutions. Only then you can take. That's why I said I put equivalency and these things, two things together.
Definitely, sir. Parity is the key here.
Yeah, correct.
I think this answer of yours has clarified so many doubts of the participants. Now, sir, there's just one last question, which I think has already been answered, but I'll still just ask. ABC will promote the academic integration and equity in higher education. So, do you think that this will exclude the poor or technology challenged subalterns?
Yeah, only in the sense that see, ABC is not always talking about only the courses and credits which come in the digital form. It can be even in other forms. You can look at it in that way or in that methodology also. But the challenge is definitely there on these counts. This challenge that you're talking about in terms of the digital issue is there in all the kind of access issues which are there for those who want to go into the online format, because I have certain courses which are what do you call, very passionate, very loving, and very liking to me. It is available in one place and an MO through a MOOC, but the place from where I stay or the village in which I stay, it does not give me any access, so I'm denied that. So that definitely is there. That is a issue of, that's what I said, that divide issue that definitely is there. But slowly we are overcoming and bridging that divide, which will make us close. But once you do that, I can have that. Otherwise, my choice gets restricted. Even within an institution, at times choice gets restricted because certain things I like is not available. So those are the concerns which have to be looked into. That's why they're saying multidisciplinary liberal learning kind of philosophy must get. A cluster of colleges is one thing that they're talking about in NEP. Cluster of colleges means if you say in one unit, choice gets limited. So let us say 5, 6, 7, 8 colleges will come together, and mutually we all agree that students can choose and integrate. So the administrative system should evolve in that form.
Right, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just one last question, which says, wouldn't it be prudent to give students a long list of combination of subjects to pick from, rather than allowing them to pick anything of their choice?
Yeah. What we do, and many universities are doing, that's why I also use the term a basket of credits, basket of electives, and also helping them. Mentoring is very, very important in this line, that we have in our university, we have a person who is supposed to act as a SWAYAM coordinator for MOOC. We have in each department a person who is going to help students in telling them. It is not that that person is forcing them, but helping them or facilitating them in making their choice. A wide spectrum of things will be available. Sorry, some of it might pose problems for them in their learning process in future. Some of it might sound attractive in terms of the title, but the deep understanding of the curriculum might not be there with the learner. So we need somebody to help them with the electives that are there. So what is normally done is the electives available in each semester, and the time when they can choose is uploaded on the website. And what all electives are available outside, which you believe will be useful for our students, whenever we get matter on that, we upload it and tell them that these are things which are, say for instance, just 2 days back, we had a notification on a course in Japanese, which is useful for certain students who are pursuing one particular program in technology management. So we brought this to the attention of that. This is because in a collaborative mode, how it can go. So we brought it. So there must be somebody. I'm not saying that every student might need it. Some students might be exceptionally good. They can make their choice. They can choose, but some might require some kind of facilitation. So we need a person to tell them to bring this to their attention. And so also it is when we are talking about the differently abled and all, they might need a lot of support on that line, which is in order to bring them up to order to elicit the hidden talent in them, it might be very, very useful.
Right. So we need assistance and support so that the
Yeah.
whole program is implemented in the right spirit.
Correct. Definitely.
Sir, there's no clarity about the contact hours in one credit. Some institution consider 1 hour in one credit and some consider 1.5 contact hours. So
Yeah,
can you
yeah. That is that. See, normally the most there are lots of discrepancies in that. Normally, it is like 1 to 1 instructional hours in a week and the credit. If you're two, and you can also look into the if there is lab experiment that it is. But there are, as you said, institutions which say 1.5, 1.2, and all. But but then there will be if you are talking about ABC being implemented nationwide, then there will be some guideline which will go into the regulatory bodies might fix up some guideline. Maybe UGC or somebody might fix up a guideline, or the Higher Education Commission, as it is what you call proposed to be, whatever. On that count, they might bring in a guideline which will say that this the by and large we go by a standard of 1:1.
Thank you, sir. So there's going to be a common guideline which is going to sync all the
Correct,
institutes.
correct. Unless if you want the ABC and NAD concepts to go on a common format, credits, granting of credits also should have that kind of a standardized format.
Sir, do you not think that this ABC scheme will change the whole education system of which we are all a part of?
Yes, definitely. It is because it is talking about, just like what happened in almost all sectors of services. Now, no more one place called a bank or a branch where I go is going to be important. Because I need banking services, but I'm not very particular that I should go between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock to deposit or withdraw money. It is that facility is available anytime, anywhere. So what is going to become important in higher education is that knowledge is important, skill is important, acquiring that is important, integrating that is important, transforming that is important. But I cannot say that you can do it only from here. That is the whole concept. You can do it only from here. Earlier, it was like that once I'm admitted into an institution, I have got no option. Or I can do only what is given to me in that institution. My teacher is bad, the teacher is bad. If the institution is bad, institution is bad. If the system is bad, the system is bad. System is good, I'm fortunate. If the system has got lapses, I have to face the problem. Now, today, it is a system where I'll have students in my campus, but these are the students with multiple options and wide access. So I cannot say that they will always sit before me in my classroom and I am going to deliver and you are going to listen. They have multiple options and they'll be learning through that multiple options. And that is what is actually talked about here. And which is beneficial for them. They have to look, they have to see how they are enhancing their skills and developing themselves and move on that.
Right. So the whole purpose is to ensure that flexibility so that one can move from or one can choose what they want to.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir. We've covered all the questions here.
Thank you so much. I also enjoyed being with you, and I hope because most of you, I think, would be teachers and researchers in your respective institutions and in your respective environment. Think deep into this. Definitely, it has got its own challenges, but any challenge that we deal with, encounter, and venture into it, you see that the challenge is converted into an opportunity. So that way, we have to see how we can make best use of the system and we also have to transform ourselves, because you have each one of us or each one of you here who are online, you all have an opportunity to become a teacher for a nation as a whole, not just your institution. So those guidelines, those opportunities are what we need to capture. So every challenge can be converted into an opportunity on that line. Thank you so much.
Definitely, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this session. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Professor Simon Patil, sir, for sharing your immense knowledge and thoughts about the choice-based credit semester system. Sir, I can see the messages pouring in the YouTube chat about how informative, excellent, best session till date it was. And
Thank
The constantly messages have been received regarding the session. It's an amazing session, very, very informative. Thank you, everybody. All the participants are thanking you.
Thank you so much. I am also privileged rather to address you on in this mode. Only thing is we are not seeing one to one, face to face, but I think some kind of a relationship has evolved over this program. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. So as you rightly said, that we're moving from an information based to a knowledge based system, and we need to ensure that holistic learning is the key to which CBCS is the path. So on this note, I would like to thank you that the session was very, very fruitful, and it's an honor to have you with us, sir.
Thank you
I
so
would
much.
also like to thank all our participants and request them to join on time tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All participants are requested to join on time tomorrow for the session. Thank you.